Welcome, everybody. I hope you slept well. I know that I did. And this is day number 2 of the Call of Duty 2021 CDL Elite Series, the Challengers Division. There's a lot on the line today. There's a lot on the line yesterday. It was like relegation city. We had teams towards the bottom of the standings. They were all fighting to see if they're going to survive. And now we look at a similar situation, but instead we're moving up in the standings. We're getting to the point where 3rd through 6th, things are going to shimmy around. And for the top 2, a lot of interesting scenarios to go through. But I am joined by Allie. And Allie, there's a lot on the line for a majority of these teams today. But again, we start with the European region and we look at a team like Orglis, a team like Obtain, which are coming up first. And this is basically a fight for top 2. Here's a look at the standings. Trainhard's in first place, again, formerly known as Gangster. So if you guys are wondering, whoa, where did Trainhard come from? They are the Gangster squad. They got picked up yesterday. Congratulations to them. They're 5-1, 17-8 in map count. But Orglis and Obtained, 2nd and 3rd place. They play each other coming up next. Whoever wins that is guaranteed top 2. And if Trainhard loses, it brings in some interesting other dynamics. But at the end of the day, we will see possibly a new team shift into the top 2 conversation, all the way down Rams to all the way to Singularity and Team 3G. 3G, unfortunately, they are basically relegated out. There is no way, even if they win their series today, they're going to be able to move up to 7th place. But Singularity might actually have a chance to move into that middle of the pack conversation. Allie, talk to me a little bit about whatever team you see here. What has stood out to you? What's been the most interesting storyline for you?
I mean, throughout this entire layout, I mean, there's so much wiggle room between all of the teams, especially between 2 and all the way down to 7. I mean, there's so much wiggle room. Team Singularity, a team we didn't think was going to be able to get out of relegation, they absolutely can. And you start to think about the pressure that's on them today and possibly Thursday should they play then. And you know what that's like for them and what their kind of mental is like going into this.
And again, this is a big day for a lot of these young challengers because we're getting towards the end of some of our regular weeks for the Elite Series. And then coming up down the line, we have our playoffs where the teams in 3rd place through 6th place have to fight against each other to continue on to Season 2. Top 2 teams will be there. Trainhard and Orglis, possibly, maybe Obtain's going to move into that situation. And again, the situation is if Trainhard loses their series and like Obtain Esports wins their series against Orglis, then you're in a situation where Obtain take 1st place, Trainhard take 2nd. So there's a lot that's going to be moving around. The moving pieces today are going to be interesting to look at. I can't wait to see kind of all the different nuances. But Fox, there's so much in Europe to be excited about. What's been keeping your eye up on the table?
So taking a look at Europe, we're going to have to watch what Obtain Esports does, right? They're in a battle for top 2 at the moment. That first matchup against Orglis is going to be huge for what the standings look like in Europe.
Yeah, it really will be. And I think that this, in terms of all the different kind of storylines that have gone into today, this is one of the weeks where things really start to pick up because last week is very much about what do the team rosters look like? What is the chemistry really like? What is the composition on the field? Now we're in week 2 where, hey, this is do or die time. We say it all the time. We're going to keep saying it all throughout today. You must show up and play good Call of Duty. If you don't, you could see a team like Singularity who's on the rise starting to move up into the standings. And if you're in top 2, you could get throttled out. So let's look at some of the standings because this, again, is where all of the teams have found themselves. And I correct myself. The schedule is Orglis and Obtain Esports will come up first. Then Rams and House Tarth, UT Crew, Built by Gamers, and Subliners Academy versus Wester is our marquee matchup at the end of the day, and that is the big one. Everyone has their eyes on the North American region. The number 1 and number 2 teams. We saw Subliners go absolutely off last night. They will play Wester in the biggest matchup on this bracket. But Allie, your thoughts of Orglis and Obtain coming up first, and then UT Crew and Built by Gamers, another interesting storyline there.
I feel like Orglis versus Obtain Esports today is definitely our close top 2 of our most exciting matches today, and I feel like it's a really good one to start out with. I mean, Orglis, they are 4-0. They are sitting very pretty at number 1 in the EU region right now. Their map count is 12-5. They are obviously feeling very confident going into this, but when you also look on the tough side of Obtain, they're sitting 2-2. They're a little bit more mid of the pack, but you know what? They need to come out and catch Orglis a little bit by surprise, and I think we have a really interesting series coming up for us today, Spaceman.
Fox, Subliners Academy and Wester. I mean, you talk about one of the biggest matches in the history of Challengers Elite Series up until this point. This is the big one. This is the North American heavyweights going head-to-head at the end of the day. And what better way to kind of showcase these two teams than at the very end of the broadcast? Do you got any early predictions, any little tinglings that you're feeling, oh, we may be seeing like a game 5, maybe subliners just a little bit better? I think this one could really go the distance. I just think they're so evenly matched.
See, that's an interesting take, and I'd have to agree with you on that. I think we're going to have a great fight on both sides, and we'll see the conclusion of what could be a very competitive matchup. However, we need to be reminded about the 3-0 potential from the New York Subliners Academy. I mean, these guys could just come out hot and smoke the competition in less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think that you bring up a good point there. It could be game 5, right? A lot of people probably predict, oh, they're so evenly matched, so of course it goes the distance. But remember, as the pedigree continues to rise, that's when you start seeing teams counter each other a little bit better, and maybe subliners get the upper hand. Maybe it's Wester who all of a sudden take the #1 spot. But here are the maps for the first series we have in the European slot, and this is an interesting one. Again, there's a lot of story here to be told, and I can't wait to see the action actually kick off in just a couple of moments. But Orglis and Obtained Esports, these two teams are going head-to-head on Raid first, followed by Checkmate, followed by Raid, followed by Checkmate, followed by Raid. There's a pattern here that we didn't catch on to just now, but it seems like both teams favoring Raid, at least in the respawns off the start. Then the S&D starts to slow down Checkmate. You're going to be looking for those creeks to come out. Raid S&D game 5 if necessary. But Ali, looking at just starting off the series, first map is on Raid, then we go to Checkmate for S&D, Raid for Control. Raid seems to be favored for the respawns off the start. Who are you getting a vibe from? Do you think Orglis or Obtained are going to have a better start to the series?
I feel like Orglis, absolutely. They have had such a dominant respawn start so far. I feel like they'll definitely be able to take this hardpoint pretty easily.
I like what you're thinking there. And you know what? I'd like to see the gameplay a little bit more. So with that said, we will bid adieu to our best friend Fox, and we will hop into map #1. It's Orglis versus Obtained Esports. Map 1, Raid, underway. And again, there's a lot on the line for both these teams. Let's remember kind of the standings here. Orglis, they lost 3-1 to House Tarth and 3-2 to Rams, so they're on a 2-loss streak at the moment. Obtained won 3-1 over Singularity. The winner of this is guaranteed top 2 in Europe, and everything else is out of their hands. They can either wait for Trainhard to win or lose and see if they get first place. At the end of the day, you have to come out and win this match, and whoever does, well, you'll be sitting nice for the playoffs.
All right, well, right off the bat, we are on board with Harry. Orglis looking like they are getting the first couple seconds of time on this first kill, and already some fantastic gameplay out of Harry, getting some kills, trying to get on rotation and flip spawns for his team, which he's able to do. Unfortunately, giving up a little bit of control on P1, but that is perfectly fine as they are slowly getting ready to rotate over to Lambo side. Josh, he's going to try and get control of this mid-map area. He might catch Hixie, gets the information, but not able to get the kill, so he's going to back up a little bit, play his life. Love that play out of him. Harry's holding the front line right now. He's all by himself. Trades going back and forth, but Orglis still coming out on top.
Very first quick P1. Now we rotate to Kitchen. It's Chain on your screen. Finds Nasty all the way towards the back cut, but Nasty's going to escape. We'll move into the Kitchen. Gunfights ensue. A little bit of chaos in the hill for the moment. All orange is obtained. 2 inside will pick up the kills. Hixie finds 2 as well. Chain will clean down 1, and now we move in. So Obtained Esports have control for the early time. 34 seconds as well. You can start to look at the top side of the minimap. It is Connor who's rotated out, waiting for his teammates to pick up the necessary kills, but he's rotated behind. 1, 2, looking for the third. Vortex tagged up. So is Connor. He will back down from the fight for now, and we wait for that rotation. You can see the spawns moving towards top pool, but at this moment, Obtained doing a good job of just trying to slow down the numbers from Orglis.
Beautiful break out of Obtained Esports, and they can get up this final 20 seconds to go ahead and set up for new Lambo, and that is exactly what they're doing. Number 8 on your mini-map, that's going to be Caleb. He's already there sitting and waiting for Nasty and the crew to try to slide in, and they get in for a moment. I don't know what was going on there, but Caleb takes on 1, but the trades end up going the side of Orglis. Obtained Esports needed to play a little bit closer to Lambo and not leave Caleb on his own, so what was a very good rotation out of Obtained Esports got broken so easily by Orglis.
It's never fun, Allie, where wherever you peek, you get tagged. You're like, up, can't go there, up, can't go there. Nasty just stuck in an awkward position, finding 1 kill in the entry. Looking for the second. Connor outside. Bye, we'll see you later. There's the third cleanup from the front 2-line subs. Vortex finds the third. Orglis have control of the hill. 27 seconds and counting, but we look at mid-map, and Obtained Esports now rotating out. We're going to start looking for that P4 rotation. They're going to be there first. Chain will find 2, and you take 1 out of the hill, so you basically give them 10 or so seconds. They're going to be able to rack up, but not not a horrible scoreline, not great either. Hixie picks up 1 out of the Tiki Bar, and we're going to move to the basketball court. Set up first is obtained. Allie, this is a situation where they need to grab at least a 40-second margin, maybe possibly 50. You need to work back into this game.
I definitely would have wished to see a little bit more of an early rotation out of Orgos, but again, they have a lot of time to play with right now. But what's so dangerous about this basketball hill is that Obtain Esports could get this full 60 very easily and be right back in this game. As we're watching right now, 3 members of Obtained Esports are waiting for Orglis to flood this back steps, playing it a little slow. The trades are coming through, but Obtained Esports able to hold the back line, now leaving Nasty all by himself on steps, waiting for the cavalry. You see how close Orglis is spawning to this hill. They could break this if they got their trades in right, but they just are getting picked apart by Hixie. Caleb not really having to do too much as he's just waiting for them to push this staircase. Like I said, just like that, is now only about 20-point different game after they get this full 60 on Basketball Hill.
Well, that's a big kill by Harry out in the middle of pools because it allows Josh to rotate from behind. They can work together. Here comes the push from the front. They'll take care of stairs, no problem. And they needed about 40 or so seconds. I think they got all of that. 80 to 104. The game is now manageable, and you can stop the bleeding, but you do have to worry, again, about the next hardpoint. Still a lot to be played. Harry on your screen working through kitchen. It's Hixie inside the hill. Now finds the position. Will take him down. Trades are there, and you can move on through. So they are starting to get set up, but finally, Orc will find the kills to follow in, and Josh, AR in hand, XM4 doing the dirty work as Nasty combines for a third, and you know they're coming from the zigzag, so you have to be able to push up your front subs. Nasty thinking about it, stuns went out towards the stairs, still uncontested. They've been able to rack up about 15 or so seconds. Finally, the numbers start to funnel in. Nasty and Josh again combining for 2 kills. They're shutting down Connor, who eventually picks up 1. But after those trades come through and everyone's all basically done and dusted, it's still hill control for Orglis. Finally, Obtain Esports gets some numbers in.
Who needs early rotations when you have Josh and Nasty on your team to break that hill so easily? And Harry, already on early rotation, he is all by himself, though. He will have to answer to 3 members of Obtain Esports. And Presentis him away, he's able to tag him up. He takes 1 down with him, but unfortunately not able to clean up the other 2. So the first couple of seconds are going to go the side of Obtain Esports, but again, they have quite the deficit to overcome here. About 40 seconds difference between Orglis and Obtain Esports. We're back on our second rotation. Looks like Vortex is trying to get some picks from pillars, but he's just going to back up, maybe go for a deep flank here, or just hang out mid, and slowly make his way towards the back. Time still going in favor of Obtain Esports.
And I think it's also important to remember and just kind of remind the audience, right? Orglis have come into the series. They lost both their matches yesterday, Obtained won both. So that's how this current setup works. One team is on a losing streak. The other has won both their games. And they're now both fighting to move into that top 2 spot in the bracket. So whoever wins this series, obviously, they're going to be feeling good knowing that they relegate immediately from Season 2 of the Challengers Elite Series. But Orglis look like they just have not lost a step. Those 2 losses yesterday don't mean anything. Nasty's been hitting all his shots. Connor will not find the third. Vortex will take him down. Harry's been contributing when it comes to the hill. Vortex is snapping. We move to our second set of rotations in our P2 hill. We're set up inside kitchen with Vortex, and Orglis just look good.
I feel like we're definitely seeing Orglis start to heat up a lot more here. There's now almost an 80-point deficit between Orglis and Obtain Esports, and Orglis have just been playing this so incredibly well. Nasty, not to mention, has been an absolute one-man army. Vortex, so alone in the hill, he's going to get a little help from the front, but after trades go through Obtain Esports, he's going to be able to break in.
Jeez.
This is a good 30 seconds for them. However, they do need to worry about rotation. Number 6 on your minimap, that's going to be Hixie. He's going to try and get behind Lambo, but he's going to get timing on Nasty. Nasty takes him down like it's nothing. See you later, but they're starting to spawn out. Vortex just spawned at old, and now this is looking like a little bit of a toss-up on who's
work at the moment. 17 and 18 for Nasty on the other side. It's Obtained, 2 in the hill. Chain and Hixie working together to rack up the time. He'll get picked off that heady, no problem. And Josh is trying to work through the back. They will lock down the Zig spawn. Harry gets cut down. Callum with 2 kills. Here come the trades in the kill feed. 201 to 56. Callum with another double, and they will cross the 160 mark. 40 points to go. They can get back into the game with a full 30-point hold, but you do have to look at the rotations again. We will be moving to P4, and at this moment, you're looking at Orglis to have those basketball spawns, but one is rotated out. It is Obtained, and more importantly, it is Chain Alley. He is all the way out at basketball, ready and waiting.
I can't say I like this play by Orglis to hit this last 20 seconds because now they are going to start spawning at Lambo, which is all the way across the map from basketball. And we saw how good that hold was for Obtain Esports last time. And I don't want to see Orglis get stuck in this situation again, but great rotation out of Obtain. We're going to have to worry about Hixie here and Bar. His team might catch Nasty trying to hit the front, but Orglis needs to wait for each other here, play out their trades, and then collapse on the hill together if they have any hope of breaking this.
If there was ever a time for a series to go to 5 games, this might be it. So back and forth are both these teams. There's 2 kills. A team kill comes in, but you still have control. Now full 4 spawn as they're close to the back, and you're looking at Orglis to hit together one at a time, but Josh trying to go through mid, trying to get pool control. Nasty with 2 kills. That's massive. As you just take one at a time, you can play the trades and the numbers. Orglis will move in. Hixie last alive, so weak, nowhere he can run. And it's just such a great orchestrated hit by Orglis. Josh comes through mid-map, runs by pools, takes down 2, and they're able to pinch their way into the hill, and they can't win it here. So we'll see another set of rotations. We're going to go to the courtyard, and now is when you need to set up if you're Obtained. You need to pick off the kills necessary, get a couple team wipes if you want to win this game.
If Harry can get control of P1 right here, that would be huge. But it looks like he's getting cut in the mid instead, and he does get taken down. So first couple of seconds with the side of Obtain Esports, but no worries because Harry himself and Nasty are waiting. And as the last 2 you want to go through, but Kalen with a huge 2, and now Obtain Esports, suddenly the time is going their way. Orglis are going to have to hit this together as Obtain Esports is starting to set up. 2 are going to try and hit through P1, but Kalem is just getting free time as his teammates are getting all the trades out. What was seeming like an Orglis close game, Kalem has something to say about it. 243 to 220. They could 100% close this gap here and win on this hill.
They absolutely can, but they need the kills to continue to come in. The map's starting to spread out a little bit for Orglis, but the hits still come through zigzag. There's 1 kill, massive as well. The break is in. The spawns won't come anywhere close, and that's going to be game 1. It's Orglis who take it off a final break. And that was such a big kill from Josh. He moves through, takes out Callum, who was causing havoc at Zig. And at the end of the day, you just need 1 good hold, and they weren't able to find it. But at the end, Orglis able to clutch up.
Absolutely fantastic map out of both teams. I was a little worried there because Orglis started to allow Obtain to get all that scrap time, and then they would start to hit it a little too late, which allowed Obtain to get the early rotation and the early setup in that early couple of seconds and slowly close that gap with the lead that they created. But Orglis, I mean, what less did we expect out of the 4-0 team, and ended up keeping their composure and winning the game.
One of the things that I noticed during that hardpoint was a lot of the times Obtained were relying on the full team wipe, which is great, but they weren't getting it as consistently as they needed to, Ali. There was a couple of times where they had 4 or 5 dead, and that was just rolling them into 40-point margins. But when you're relying on having to completely wipe Orglis off the board and need to get yourself back in the game, that's where I worried about their hardpoint success, because Orglis were able to move into each setup and just take them down one at a time. Even on that last basketball court hill, you were able to see Josh rotate all the way down through mid-map. He comes through courtyard, he goes poolside, picks up 2 kills, and then you pinch from both sides. There was nothing that Obtain could really do, and Orglis just made quick work of it, right? So you're looking at Obtain to continue to find those team wipes, but what did you see looking back, even on those Lambo holds? Was it just they were struggling to hold the hills, or did you notice that their kills weren't coming in the right places?
Well, on the side of Obtain, they just allowed Orglis to slip through way too easily. When Orglis, the entire team came through mid, nobody was there to contest them, and it ended up still working in Obtain's favor because Orglis did turn around after a couple of kills, kind of expecting that spawn behind them, which they were right. Obtain did start spawning behind them, but they turned a little too early, so they ended up getting picked off from inside of the hill. But we're going to watch a replay real quick to see how that all went down. But, I mean, still great stuff out of both teams. Obtain and Orglis. Obtain absolutely hang with Orglis in respawn, which is not something I expected going into this map.
Yeah, and the ARs really lit this one up, and that's kind of the beauty of Raid, right? Welcome back to 2012, 2013. That's when your ARs, if they're having a field day, it can be so difficult to hold on to a hill. I mean, Harry and Josh were just mowing down Obtained. No setup was safe for long. The nades and the utility were able to pick up a couple of players and tag them up enough for Nasty and Vortex to move through. And Nasty and Vortex working together, running those 2 AK-74Us, it's such a nuisance for teams to play against. It's like having gnats around around your face constantly. You never know when they're going to stop pushing. And then Josh in the backline, knowing when to move into the hill and go for the contest, pick up one player after another. Harry gets cut down here, and Connor had a great game, but at the end, you need a little bit more firepower from Obtain. You needed their subs to carry a little bit more of the weight. But now we take a little bit of a look ahead. We look at Game 2, Allie. Game 2, S&D is going to be on Checkmate, and this is a map where, again, regardless of the XM4 Krieg debate, you're talking about your ARs having a field day. You're talking about sub-control in plane. This is a map that I also think favors Orgless, just with how Josh and Harry look at the moment. But Vortex and Nasty, like, again, a phenomenal top 3 sub duo in Europe. This is absolutely a map where they can eat everyone alive in the plane. What are you thinking?
No, absolutely. Across the board on Orgless, I mean, Nasty, Vortex, Harry, and Josh, they're all scary on S&D, but I also feel like on the side of Obtained, I mean, you have Hixie, you have Caleb. I feel like if they can kind of match Harry and Josh's pace, I feel like the S&D is a little bit more of a map that Obtained could come out and take from Orgless, should they take any maps in this series.
Sure.
I feel like S&D is definitely their stronger suit rather than Respawn, so I think if they can capitalize on that, we may see a little bit different of a momentum change.
Yeah, well, here are the maps as well for the series, for those of you wondering. Checkmate S&D, Raid Control, and then Checkmate Hardpoint, followed by Raid S&D. We got Raid and Checkmate. That's kind of the vibe today, and I like that vibe. I'm totally cool with it. But when we move into Game 2, right, there's things, you know, recency bias, sure, but also the eyeball test. Eyeball test tells me after Game 1, Orgless, their subs and their ARs are on point. Will that continue? Is the continuity going to match itself into Games 2 and 3 throughout the series? Maybe. That is its own discussion, but if you are Obtained, if you're a fan of them or you're a player or coach in that team at this moment, all you have to do is just match the cadence of Orgless. I'm not asking you to overwhelm it. I'm not asking you to be better than it. Just need to match it, especially on this map where your subs need to be able to have a presence in the middle of the plane. All you need to do is play the standard match-to-match game. If you can do that, you have a definite good chance of sending the series tied 1-1. Let's get right into game number 2. It's S&D on Checkmate, it's Connor putting some shots through the plane, and it's Callum running the bomb.
All right, Obtain Esports already trying to look to take over this bomb site. First blood goes in favor of Orly Esports. Josh is able to pick out Hixie. It is now a 3v4 situation. Bomb has yet to go down. Killam's looking to lay it. He's all by himself in this plane right now, though, which is a very scary situation because Nasty is right below him should he decide to hop up on this wing.
Oh, Callum's going to get caught. Vortex going in for the challenge. Callum escapes. And Chain will be picked off. Never mind. Hixie as well. First and second blood going to Orgless. 4v2. Callum still running the bomb. Nasty rotating back. Connor control. The bomb couldn't advance, Allie. And at that point, you're kind of in no man's land. There's really nowhere to go.
With Connor caught out like that, I definitely would have liked to see Caleb try to rotate and get himself out of that plane.
Waiting. Vortex and Callum kind of rotating around each other under the plane. Vortex jumps up, and he'll be in mid. He gets tagged up. AR sit in the back for Obtain. No one yet to find a pick. 50 seconds to go. Nasty finds first blood onto Jade. And Hixie he re-peeks and he drops. A mistake there by Hixie. Not many places he could have run, but certainly not back into the opening. As that bomb starts to advance, Connor is going to be watching over the site, but they should be able to get it down.
Bomb goes down. Absolutely fantastic play out of Orgless. They just waited for that first pick. They waited for the mistakes, and that's exactly what Obtain Esports did, especially with Hixie re-peeking that when he was already getting tagged up. I wish he would have played his life a little bit there, but now a 2v3.
Yeah, we made the joke yesterday about Garrison. We said, hey, when things happen on Garrison, they happen quickly, and that was hilarious. We all laughed, I'm sure. But Checkmate also has a similar vibe, right? When things start to unfold and when kills start to fall, especially after first and second blood, this map closes down quickly. There's not a lot of places you can go. Again, it's like we took P4 off Gunrunner, said put him on the left or right side of the map, and then put the terminal plane right in the middle. Have fun. And yeah, you pretty much can, because when kills start to fall, it gets difficult to retake the map on offense. Josh, first blood, nice try peeking, not going to work. Obtain Esports with the advantage, numbers as well. They're going to try to push this bomb up. And he'll pick off one. I think that's bomb down as well. It will be. So bomb in a precarious spot. Nasty completely tagged up, but Vortex is watching over. So you can't go for the challenge if you're Obtained. You don't know where the other players are. Now the question is, how do you get bomb and move it out?
I mean, and you can see Nasty's just waiting for one of them to pick that bomb right back up. And I don't think he got the information that the bomb got picked up. Now, what I'd like to see is the bomb to just back all the way up. But Vortex finds one, but the trades come out. Connor does pick up Vortex, so it is now a 2v1. But Nasty does not want anybody in a 2v1. It's Nasty, and he picks up both of them. Why would you re-chow? Orgless, I mean, Nasty is looking disgusting. We're gonna watch this one more time. One chows them. Not even weak. I bet that was a missed call out trying to say, oh, he's one shot as Connor goes straight for the cleanup and unable to do it.
The old he's one shot. No, he's not. He's completely
No,
off.
he's
Why would you
not.
say that? But again, those are
one.
situations, Allie, where you need to be able to close out that round. 2v1, you have numbers, you know where bomb is at least in the vicinity, and able to close it down. Orglis up 3-0, and at this moment, again, eyeball test tells us they're just playing a little bit more cohesive together. Two will move up into the plane for Obtain. Vortex might get first blood. He checks the wrong way. Caught timing. Unfortunate. Harry, second blood as well. That's 3 dead. Obtained quickly responding. They won't find the last kill. Finally, they will, and they'll make it 3-1. And that was a must-win response round.
A very quick round of Obtain Esports. I mean, I feel like that's what they needed, a little bit of a quick round, full team wipe just to try to get their momentum coming back a little bit. But they are still down 3-1, so this is a very hard deficit for them to try and come back from.
You got to think if Nasty doesn't or Vortex doesn't look, the wrong way in that last split second, maybe he picks up that kill, completely different round, 4-0. Rather be down 3-1 than 4-0. I'll tell you that. Bomb carrier Callum. Again, we're going to try to stack through the bottom of the plane. Pick off a Nasty. Callum will get the trade. 3v3. Make that a 3v2. Josh and Harry last alive. Bomb still hesitant to move into the site. Josh going to get caught. Connor picks up the kill. Orglis now falling by the wayside, and it's Obtain Esports with complete control.
Great pace change out of Obtain Esports. They just ran the plane and started playing their trades. They do have to worry about Harry, though. That is his first kill so far in round 4. As a 2v1. Bomb does go down. Obtain just need to play close on B-Bomb here. Both watch either sides of the plane. And this should be a round on the side of Obtain Esports. Harry trying to get some information. Doesn't catch anybody in Obtained. Sitting in wait on the bomb site. I'm almost shocked that he didn't slide and check bomb first, because that is a pretty typical place for people to play, especially in 2v1. But Obtain Esports, so it's not 2 rounds in a row for them.
Yeah, it's probably a 50-50 spot. You either check it or you don't, right? Like, you would expect him to, and I was watching him like, okay, he's just going to slide in, maybe check, maybe get the kill if he's lucky. But even if he does, at that moment, you have one player left for Obtain on the other side. They can just peek out and get the kill. He's got to be weak at that point. Hixie, 1-5, struggling so far in this game too. 8-2 for Nasty, and who again has been a catalyst for this team's success in S&Ds across just the Challenger circuit in general. As 2 players from Obtain will move in. Hixie up, trophy system down. Connor putting some fire over the top. Vortex just kind of ballerinas his way through the site. Tagged up. That bomb again hesitant to move up. An AR battle at the top of your screen. It's Josh and Callum still looking for each other. Chain working underneath.
Orglis definitely trying to slow the pace back down in their favor. Just waiting for a first blood. 52 seconds left clock. Nasty gets caught out by Chain just a little bit, but he manages to stay alive.
Ooh.
Big catch out by Chain. Hixie gets another one in plane. Suddenly Orglis starts to fall. It's now 4v2. Plane control inside of Obtained. Bomb has still yet to go down. 30 seconds. It's trying to make its way A, but I feel like Caleb's going to have something to say about that. As he finds Nasty, but Nasty takes him down, but it is still a 3v1. Nasty on his lonesome gets one shot called out by the AK-47U, and now all of a sudden that's 3 rounds in a row for Obtained Esports.
Again, it makes life so much easier when you're able to find first blood, and for 3 straight rounds, it was Orglis getting first blood, winning the round. Then you have Obtained getting first blood, winning said rounds. Now we're all tied up 3-3 in a situation where, again, you're looking at Nasty 9-3, but for Harry, struggling 1-4 on the other side. Hixie turns it around, finds 2 kills in the round. Callum, again, will be your bomb carrier. And I wonder what the decision might be. You're all tied up. You've been able to work through this side each time. Don't stray too far away from the game plan. It's worked for you. Shots ring out. No one to fall just yet. All 4 members of Obtain currently stacked near the plane. Hixie underneath. And Vortex and Josh just working on the right side of the bomb. If Callum peeks, he's going to get taken down. So you need numbers to follow in with him.
Chain trying to catch somebody from the bottom of the plane. Little does Josh know that they were looking right down at him. He's trying to have something to say about it, but doesn't end up tagging any of them up. Stuns go out. gives him the information, but Obtain is not moving. Harry's trying to do something out of the back, and we're going to see some trades going out here. Josh finds one. No trades on side of Obtain, and suddenly it's a 2v4 as Orgulus just start collapsing in on them, and that is what we see them do. They get that first blood, and then they just collapse in on the rest of the team. Chain on his lonesome under plane right now, just trying to find somebody. Bomb still has to go down, though, and is down in plane. Probably going to see this round go towards Orgulus.
Hold on, 4v2. Or excuse me, 1v4, now to our 1v2. Oh, sliding him in the challenge, gets it as well. Vortex last line, you just need to check this. Vortex has to know he's going to go for the challenge. Will he get it? He will. 1v4 down to a 1v1. Vortex will win that one. And yeah, that's when you just get the call. Hey, go take him down. He's right next to you. But Chain did everything necessary to make this as much of a nightmare scenario as possibly could be.
They just gave Chain all these isolated 1v1 gunfights. A nice snap right onto Josh. Vortex though able to close out for his teammates.
Four, 3. Nasty again, leading the lobby with the most amount of kills. Chain on the other side, thanks to that basically 1v3 that didn't pan out the right way. 8 and 5. Again, they will send Josh out on an island. He's going to be looking for Hixie if he gets lucky. It's a 3-hit under the plane. I kind of like this play. And never mind, Chain gets first blood. And the bomb's down. So yeah, it looks good, and then it didn't.
I was going to say there's a little something different out of Orgulus because they have yet to make a full commit towards the B bomb site, but still 3v3, they were able to trade out Nasty with Chain, and that's your 9-6 down on the board. That's also your 10-5. Your Thanos is on both sides of the team down. Vortex stuck on the plane here a little bit. He will catch out Hixie. Now a 2v3. Vortex will get taken down though. Those trades continue to go out. The bomb is still yet to go down. Not that they needed to though, as Orgulus are able to find Harry. Now they're up 5-3. Orgulus, great composure out of them, able to shut down the momentum that Obtain was trying to gain through those past 3 rounds.
I remember watching Vortex during Black Ops 4, and I think it was... pretty sure it was the Anaheim Open. If not, it was the Miami Open for sure. And watching him kind of wreak havoc both in Hardpoint and S&D on frequency, it was a nightmare for other teams. He was just always finding a way to get in, find first blood, second blood, and move out, stay alive. You could never kind of lock down his position, and he's kept that same play style all these years later. The dude's an absolute menace. He's at 10 and 5. Excuse me, 7 and 5. Nasty at 10 and 5. Callum gonna move into the site. Everyone's here though. Callum might peek again, has nowhere to go. Vortex gonna find first blood. Advantage to Orgulus. They know where bomb is, and this is when you start throwing utility down, and you have to make Obtain go for the bomb.
Huge information out of Vortex. His teammates, you can see them all paying attention to plane here as Obtain need to try and rotate out of this situation as they are already down 3v4. Hixie trying to find a little bit some under the plane. The bomb is by its lonesome with Chain over on the A site, so they don't know about Josh just yet. Hixie does need to get that information or else Chain could get taken down here.
Couple of shots.
Couple of shots going his way. They still don't know Josh. Just posted up at the A site. He could get this information on this rotation back over towards B. There it is. He catches Chain. He stays in place his life, and bomb is now down in mid. 19 seconds to go. The trades come through. Orgulus close it out. Very clean. 6-3.
Well, they win up 3-0. They give up 3 rounds, and then they win 3-0 again to win 6-3 in game 2. And looking back, we've only been gone for 5 seconds, but looking back at this S&D, it was complete dominance for the first 3 rounds, Allie, and then things start to slow down a little bit. You see a response coming in from Obtain. They start finding first blood. That rallies them into a comeback of 3 rounds in a row, and that's how the story was. 3 rounds for Orgulus, 3 rounds for Obtain, 3 rounds for Orgulus. Once they got a plane control, you're looking at Vortex and Nasty. Once they were able to get up there, get set up, Callum was running bomb every single time. They shut him down. They don't let him advance, and then they just controlled the plane. They just continued to find a way to stop that advancement, and they picked up first blood, second blood. Your ARs are working under the plane, so you can find people rotating out of position. They watched the cross appropriately. What did you see in that S&D? Because it was very much just you take 3, you take 3, you take 3. What stood out to you about the way Orgulus played that?
Well, so Orgos was playing very spread out in the beginning, and that's when Obtain kind of started to take those rounds back because they were like, okay, let's just stack a point together, play our trades, play our numbers, and that's when they started to get those 3 rounds. And once Orgos realized that, they were like, all right, fine, so we'll slow down, we'll start playing closer together. They get that first blood, they collapse on the Obtain, and Obtain just wasn't able to respond in time.
Yeah, and Obtained had a couple of rounds where it looked like they were going to be able to kind of rally, right? You're looking at rounds 4, 5, and 6, but even during like the replays, when we were just taking a look at some of the final kill cams, it really seemed like they were continuing to fight back against the assault. That was Orglis, and then Orglis once again stepped up the next level. Going into this S&D, and here's the replay, all we asked for Obtain to do, right? Just match their level. When they matched it, they were tied 3-3. When Orglis started to get more comfortable and raise the speed and just kind of the frequency of their gameplay a little bit, that's when we saw them moving into plane, getting first blood, and from there, it was just impossible for Obtain to find the right way to play through the map. They were getting shut down, they lose that 1v2. Shane does his best to make it from a 1v4 to a 1v1. He doesn't win it. If he had, maybe this game goes their way, but even in these replays, right, and here's the 1v3 from Shane, even in these replays, just Orglis had, you could see on the minimap, they had control of mid-map the entire time.
And I mean, they just couldn't shut down Nasty. I mean, I believe he was 7-0 at one point. I mean, that was absolutely Nasty's map to win. I mean, I think he ended 10-2, if I'm correct, 10-4. And I mean, they just needed to shut him down, and they were just unable to.
Yeah, and we talked about Nasty and Vortex, the duality of these two subs, and when they get comfortable in plane, or at least in general, right, comfortable as a whole, they're really hard to stop. So you put them on a map like Checkmate that favors them, right? They can be an annoying presence. All they need to do is pick up 1 kill. You get 1 kill, you've done your job. They did it consistently. So now we look at Raid Control. That is our map 3. And now we move back to Raid. We're going back to what we did in game 1, but it's control time. I'm looking at Nasty. I'm looking at Vortex. You guys know the deal. Josh and Harry have been lights out as ARs, but if Nasty and Vortex have any semblance of the same success they had in games 1 and game 2, this is going to be a very difficult map for Obtain to win. They're already down 2-0 in the series, Allie. They need to win this map.
Looks like they did a little bit out of left field movement here as they went straight to the B site. Now straight going through, we are still even on lives. We're coming a little bit late, but I mean, that is already almost 3 ticks down on B. Absolutely fantastic push out of Obtain Esports. Just go ahead and get that control so quickly.
Well, as soon as they do, they get it broken. So they get 2 ticks. I like what I'm seeing. Splitting things up. Now the resources can go over to A. We'll sit in the circle, and they almost get the second tick on A as well. So they've done such a great job off the start of getting both progress at A and B. This Cotter is last alive. He's just going to kind of cap this by himself. Has to win a 1v1 against Harry. Will he do it? He will. Woo! They're going to get A, and they're going to get B. This was a flawless start for Obtain Esports. That's exactly how you play the map.
And that is exactly what we did not expect after they have already gone down 0-2 in the series. Obtain, that they are going to capitalize anywhere. It should be in this control as Orglis. I feel like control is probably one of their weakest game modes, and Obtain is really taking advantage of that right now.
Just didn't give him time to read. Did not give Orglis any time to read through the map. You just get into B, and I love the call, right? Push everyone onto B. If we get team wipes, so be it. We'll just siphon off some resources. We'll go to A. Everyone does their job. They pick up the necessary kills, and they rally it to a first-round win on offense. Now we move to Orglis. Now here's their chance. And it looks like it's going to be another B hit off the start, so similarities between both teams of the opening of this game 3. Shane absolutely ripped off the corner. Vortex picks up the second kill, and now we will move into the site. Connor coming off spawn. He will have reinforcements in just a couple of moments. But how do you shut it down to mid-map? You're going to have to rely on Josh. He can't pick up the big gunfight, and they're going to get pinched onto the site. That's all up to Hixie. He's going to find a second as well.
Harry needed to turn around there. I wonder what the call out was for Hixie running in their back, but they did end up getting 1 tick on B, and now we already have a player on A, but he doesn't win that gunfight. So Orglis was trying to answer with a fast B cap of their own, but they were unable to pull it off. Now Hixie is about to just wreak absolute havoc in Orglis' spawn. See if he's going to catch Harry here. Top tier information, and he wins the gunfight. Hixie 6-1. Obtain Esports not looking at all like the first team we saw in the Hardpoint.
I make it at 7-1. 7 in a row. All we said, we need you to match the slaying of Orglis just a hair. Just match it. Here comes the 8. Gonna catch him running. Nowhere you can go. Again, this is what you needed if you're Obtained Esports. Hixie starting to pop off. Josh coming off spawn. He's gonna get up. Gonna escape. Vortex with a challenge. And he will be deleted. 9-1. 9 straight kills And if this is not a good defensive hold, I don't know what is. 22-17. You need to rally off of these kills and find this round.
Harry and Nasty were able to cap the B point, though, while Hixie was trying to make noise in their spawn. But if you look at the lives, 21-19, Orglis is down. But if they get one good wipe here, they could cap A and still take this round back from them. But Obtain, I mean, looking absolutely fantastic. At number 3 of your main map, that's Connor. He's just absolutely killing them off of spawn. The game's starting to slow down a little bit, get a couple of picks here and there, but lives are just going in the favor of Obtained Esports. Orglis is just running straight into free fire, unable to break through.
They're getting blown off the map. They can't move anywhere. They can't set up. Look how far past the 50-yard line Obtained are. They're just going to collapse in on the spawn. As Vortex on your screen, going to get cut down. Chain with the double kill. One moving up water steps. Well, this is one starting to come through. Callum is just, I would say sniping as if he is like quickscoping everyone. I mean, basically looks like it. He is burning through the defensive hold of Orglis. Each time they try to come through, Vortex able to pick up one. And A still viable. Vortex picks up the second. Now on a 3 spree. But what's the decision here? 15 lives for Orglis to 18 of Obtained. And these rounds have really come down to the life differential. It really hasn't been, oh, we lost the cat, we have to play from behind. They're just getting slaughtered off the field. Vortex will drop. And Alley, it's 17-12. Again, Obtained in a good spot.
I mean, that was just beautiful watching Obtain Esports just slowly make their way through mid and just all of them win 1v1 gunfights, getting some trades going through for them, keep spawning Orglis out. I mean, live 17-10, 15-9 now, as Obtain just mowed down Orglis. Kill him left on his lonesome, though. He still needs to cap A, but they have 1:30 to do it. They could absolutely just sit here and keep picking off Orglis. Two do go down, though, on Obtain Esports, so they're trying to collapse and push up on the side, but number 1 on your mini-map, that's going to be Chain. He's going to be coming through mid and trying to make some noise, possibly in the spawn of Orglis yet again.
Ooh, that looked dangerous, but they'll pick up the kill regardless. 12-6. A ratio of 2 at this moment. You just play trades, you win this round. A minute to go. Pixie's going to move in, trying to go for the cap. Vortex will take him down, but there's still players there. Vortex needs help. He can't do this by himself. Crossing in is Josh. Josh trying to send some shots over. He's going to be top laundry. They get a couple of kills. Okay, 9-3, but that's basically it. Orglis only have 3 lives to go. You have 7 for Obtained. This one's going to be almost impossible. They're going to decap that second tick. But you can take your time if you're Obtained. You're just playing for 3 kills.
At this point, I was going to say, you know, nobody on the side of Orglis goes down. They did have a good chance, but it's now basically a 2v6 situation. Josh and Harry, they're trying to get it done there. I mean, they're about to, but if you look in your mini-map, number 4, Killen's trying to get behind them. And Harry does get taken down, so Josh does pick one, but again, he's going to have to go huge here against all 3 members of Obtain. What a fast game of control. Obtain just absolutely turned gears and was a completely different team going into this.
Yeah, that really was by the time we hit 1 minute left in the game after the first point had been capped. You're looking at a life differential of like 6 or 7, and we're getting down to the final few lives. That entire control was in possession, control, hands of Obtain, whatever synonym you want to use. They were never behind in this game, and if you needed a response round, if you needed round, let's translate that to game, if you needed anything in this series to put you back on track to possibly winning, that was it. It didn't need to be close. It came out as a blowout. You'll take it, a win is a win. But Allie, just looking at even off the start, right? They get the first tick on the A, then they go right to B. They get B locked down. They get A locked down. First round goes their way. We're thinking, okay, that's a great round. Then they come out the next one, and like 2 players combine for a 13 streak, and they just start slaughtering everyone off the map. Orglis couldn't even respond out of spawn. What do you do in that situation? How do you bounce back?
Well, as Orglis, I feel like they should just sweep that one under the rug just because, again, control is not a very strong game mode for them. So they could already chalk that up and be like, all right, that's fine. We're really good at Hardpoint. We're really good at respawn. We'll just take it back in the next map. But Obtain is probably feeling so good now. They are hot on their heels. They got them a little shaken up. They've taken a map off. It is now only 2-1 in the series, which is a lot less daunting than 2-0. And again, we've seen reverse sweeps almost happen, especially yesterday. So is it completely possible for Obtain to come on back?
Yeah, let's look at the replays of that game, and I feel like the replays are just going to be a highlight montage of all of Obtained Esports. I mean, why wouldn't it be? And I feel like the only strat that you have going forward in this series, if you are Orgless, is just, if we don't think about it, it didn't really happen, right? And that's kind of the mentality you need to have, because you didn't spend maybe more than 10 minutes on this map. It was a very quick one. Hixie at 5-1, you had Chain at 6-2. Hixie was eating everyone right in the top of Art, and there was nowhere else to run. He was on a 7 spree, 8, 9. He kept going. He was taking out Josh off of spawn. Your subs combined were, what, 9-20, 10-20 for Orgless? That can't happen. That's not how you're going to be successful in Control. Allie, what did you see out of Obtained aside from the slaying? What were they doing at mid-map that was so vital to their success?
I mean, they were just playing so calculatory to each other. I mean, the way I watched them on the minimap slowly close in on Orgless on the A side, just slowly getting the picks and then knowing when the right time was to push up after they were all off spawn. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful to watch. And in my notes here, I mean, I have that Chain needed to step it up from yesterday. You know, we didn't see the Chain that we saw yesterday, and he really did. He turned gears today, and it made Obtain Esports like a totally different team.
It really did, and maybe that's the spark. Maybe all of a sudden Obtain Esports just needed to not even win close, because win close, it's like, you know, oh, there's things we didn't do entirely correctly, and we feel like, yeah, we won the map, but it's still going to be a slugfest. They blew them out. So maybe the fact that they were so dominant in Game 3 means that, hey, we have figured out what we need to do. We feel good. We just destroyed them. Let's get right into the Hardpoint. And speaking of which, it's checkmate, right? We're going back and forth now. Checkmate, Hardpoint. Again, subs. Here is the map layout, and the subs need to be massive in this Game 4 checkmate. You look at Game 5, again, Raid, we're probably going to go back there the way this series is going. The eyeball test, again, tells me that Obtained Esports look like they've flipped a switch here, but it was Game 1 for Orgless and Game 2 for Orgless. It was very, very simple, clinical, easy, and then Game 3 was where everything just changed, and now I look at the subs and I say, hey, same thing, but looking at Orgless' side, Vortex and Nasty, can you help me, please? Like, we need help. We need help. You need to be able to slay like you did in the first 2 games. But if you're Obtained, you're feeling good. This is a good situation to be in, because after this, you go to an S&D on Raid, which is basically neutral for anybody. The map has been around for a decade. Everyone knows how to play it, so you take your time. Allie, your prediction going into Game 4, and what's like one variable factor player you're looking at and you need them to go big?
I'm definitely still favoring Orgless, and I'm definitely looking at Nasty and at Harry, because I feel like if those two start turning it up again like we saw earlier in the series, I feel like it'll be an easy sweep for them. I feel like we'll be another repeat of our first Hardpoint, but Obtain could very easily take this memento and run with it.
Well, let's get into the game again. Checkmate, Hardpoint. This is our 4th map in the series. Orgless, Obtained, and once again, we're going to kind of rehash some of the storylines going into this. Orgless had lost 3-1 to House Tarth, and they lost in Game 5 to Rams yesterday. So they've been on a down streak of 2 games. Obtained won 3-1 over Singularity, and whoever wins this moves into 2nd place guaranteed. So there's a lot on the line. You don't have to worry about relegating playing through a playoff bracket. You get to move into Season 2 of the Elite Series just by being in 2nd place. You might even get 1st, depending on how Trainhard plays their games today. But this is a big series, and I think it's going to come down to a big map here.
All right, right off the bat, Obtain Esports getting the first couple of seconds, but this is already such a scrappy P1. Chain with 2. We were just talking about how he has started to heat up. He is now 4-1. He will finally get taken down, but Obtain Esports already with the first couple of seconds. We'll need to see a rotation start coming out here soon, as this plane is just going back and forth. On board is Caleb, now with Chain again, trying to get a couple of picks on the side of the plane. He won't tag anybody up just yet, as Harry flies out at him and says, good night, see you later. Connor, though, making some noise into the Hardpoint. 7 seconds left. Finally going to see a little bit of rotation coming out of both sides. They're both spawning so far on the other side of the map. Nobody gets definite spawns just yet, but anyone's catching them off rotation. And once again, Obtain Esports have control over the Hardpoint.
Yeah, off P1, you're not looking for a large chunk of time. A lot of it's going to be contested and scrapped, so you're basically setting up for the next set of rotations. You're looking at P2 back NASA, and that's where already Obtain Esports have been ready and waiting, but 2 kills fall for Orgless, and they will move in off the backs of Vortex, and he is sitting at 1-3. Need him to start getting going as it's tie game. Finally, they will take the lead, and they'll try to grow it, but 2 kills toward mid-map. Look how far pushed up Obtain are, but Josh cuts down 1. Switching back to the exit, Oral pick down the 2nd. And it's one inside containers. He gets cut down as well. Callum wins the challenge. Josh gets a trophy kill on Chain. Okay. 30 to 15. They continue to grow the lead, and now we look for the P3 rotation.
Definitely was looking spooky for a second there for Orgless as I saw Team Esports trying to do the number advantage, but Josh had something to say about that as he took down 3. So now Orgless 41 to 15. They are on rotation as well. Suddenly this is looking all for Orgless as they are outslaying Obtain Esports currently, which is not what we expected. Chain 8 and 6, Hixie 1 and 5. Need a little bit more out of him. Nasty looking to pick up 1. He finds 16. Caleb goes down as well, and suddenly Obtain Esports are spawning so deep on the map. Number 5 on your minute now. That's Connor. He's gonna try and slip by, but he does get kicked out. Now this is the Orgos that we wanted to see in the control bar, now seeing in the hard point.
The danger for Obtain during that P2 hill was if they push too far up and they don't win the gunfights, you're going to play from behind going into P3 right onto the plane. So they elected to go that route. You could question it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. You commit as a team, and now you have to fight off the back foot. 74 to 18, and this one's quickly gotten out of grass. They have to be able to find the necessary kills in transition. Josh shuts down 1. Chain will drop. You're looking at a 4v3 at the moment, back to full strength for both teams. Hixie's underneath the plane. He needs to be able to pick up Harry. He'll do so, and Josh will take down Hixie in the process. Connor finds 1. Callum will find a 2nd. No one's been able to grab time, but we go to P4, and we're going to sit towards shipping. As again, welcome to kind of the P4 hill from Gunrunner. Harry will pick up 2 kills, and the ARs are starting to light up for Orgless. This is what kept them afloat in the first hardpoint on Raid earlier in the series. That's what's keeping them in the lead right now.
Orgless was able to give up that rotation and kind of fight for that plane control and able to let Harry get behind enemy lines and pick up that 3. And what was a very good rotation of Obtain Esports has now been broken so easily, and now they have to try and fight their way through front once again. We got Nasty playing your plane area. He's going to have a good engagement coming up here against Caleb and Hixie. Hopefully see trades coming through. We heard him for sure. Doesn't win the gunfight, but again, this is an 80-point game, 106 to 30. Caleb trying to make his way behind enemy lines, maybe flip him out, but Nasty has something to say about that. And again, this time has gone uncontested as Obtain is committing so much to try and get on this rotation.
And 8 is trying to grab spawns for the next rotation, but he gets cut down. You're going to spawn basically back all the way at NASA. They'll do just that. That's a 2nd kill for Nasty on a 3 spree at the moment, and they're going to lock down this next hill. So we move again into our rotation, and they're looking at who's going to follow up. Harry cannot find Chain. 135 and counting, and they have not been able to find the break for Obtained. They've found a couple now, 3 kills in a row, but how do you rally that into some solid time? Well, they find everyone off of Orgless, they get them out of the hill, and now you can try to sit in, but you need trophies down to watch those nades, and for the moment, they're going to be able to kind of scrap themselves back into this fight, but again, you're getting into that situation, Ali, where you have to be able to pick up kill after kill after kill. You need to rally that momentum into a solid lead.
No, absolutely fantastic breakout of Obtain Esports, but now they have to worry about rotation because they are so down and out. There's only 16 seconds left on this hill, and Orgless is already in this plane ready and waiting. Good shots out of Chain, though. They're able to make their way in, but they have to worry about Vortex behind them. He does get beaten down, and trades go through. That is 3 down for Obtain Esports, and now suddenly what was looking like a good hold is now hurting them in the back as they have not rotated for this plane hill.
Yeah, we go back to P1, a 2nd set of hills, and again, another situation where, yeah, you got to commit as a team. You have to be able to get some time, but you give up in map control. Nasty able to find 1. The trades come through, red and white in the kill feed. It's Callum on your screen picking up 1 kill. He will shut down Vortex. Front light sub will drop. 2nd comes in. He'll find that 2nd kill. Harry will drop as well. 58, contested hill. Now they'll hit the 60-point mark, so they're working their way back into this game. They need a full 30 here, and they need to win rotation. Hixie with a big gunfight in the back. We're going to start looking at the NASA pop as Nasty and Harry are both back there. Harry picks up a big kill on the sidelines, and moving towards the outskirts, it is Josh, who should be able to take down Hixie. He will do so. The numbers funnel in for Orgless. They have the reinforcements. They have the kills falling on the outside of the hill. They have the early time, and they don't have to worry about this last scrap time, Allie. It's all good for them.
Fantastic contest out of Vortex as he hit from the back and was able to get in there and get Obtained Esports attention for just a second as Orgless still has spawns for next. They're going to get the next couple seconds. Good shots out of Chain to get him off of hill, but Nasty's close enough to pick up that time. And across the board, Orgless is just outslaying. I mean, Vortex has just been able to sit in the objective. He has 1 minute and 30 seconds in kill time, but Team Esports not trying to go down that easy. Chain and and Hixie are trying to make their way through the back. One gets behind, the trade doesn't go through. Harry able to pick up both in the back, so what was such a good flank coming out of them gets shut down so easily by the man himself, Harry. 20 and 15. Orglis is looking fantastic.
This might be one of the most disrespectful holds I've ever seen from Orglis. They sit inside the hill for the first 15-20 seconds. They realize they're getting pushed from the back. They all jump out, get all 4 kills, and get right back into point. If you're Obtained, you have not done anything successful when it comes to relocking down this lane and getting into the NASA Hill. We look at P3, we're going to move back under the plane. You need your subs to step up. 11 and 20 is Hixie. He has to find a multitude of kills, excuse me. He needs to start popping off. You need your ARs and Chain. You need Connor to start contributing. It's not been looking good. You have gotten nowhere near the hill, and you're getting towards scrap time danger moments of this game, where all Orglis needs to do is get one clean break, one clean hold. They can pick up 10, 20, maybe 25 or so seconds, and this game is done. This series is over. 181 to 97. You need a full 60 going into this hill and the next one.
And because of this, Orglis hasn't even had to worry about losing rotation very early because they've been breaking Obtained esports so consistently throughout this entire map. The number 1 and 3 is Vortex and Josh are hitting that. They just spawn behind enemy lines, and Obtained esports has no idea. They're all about to get shot in the back, and time is about to go to the side of Orglis. And once again, didn't even have to worry about rotation. This is a good 14 seconds going their way. They have plane control, which is so huge on this map, so they don't even have to worry about getting close to the next hardpoint just yet.
Any semblance of stability as we look for P4. Vortex going to get shut down. Chain and Hixie, again, you need to find a solid group of kills. Josh will cut him down. Harry gets the second. It's so easily broken, Ali. They had the early setup. Callum comes in. He will find one, cannot find the second. And they just walk their way through. Orglis have no problem just moving into the hill and retaking what they feel is rightfully theirs. There's 2 kills. Josh looking for the third. He's going to grab it. And it's 2-10 to 110, 100-point margin, increasing ever so slightly. They can't win it here. But again, we will move on rotation. You must contest if you're Obtained. Yes, you have spawns for new, but you only got about 20 or so seconds to give once the new hill pops. You need to contest for this time. They just can't find the kills necessary.
Woo!
Oh my god.
Fantastic turn and burn by Vortex. Again, he is only sitting at 17 and 22 with almost 2 minutes in hill time across the board, letting his teammates slay out. Obtained esports have just not been able to out-trade Orglis the entire map.
Yeah, this one, it's getting out of control. Only 7 more seconds needed, and if I'm a betting man, which I'm going to be right now, I think this one's done. You get one break, the game is over. I know people say don't call it a comeback, but they have not been able to find the necessary kills. Hixie picks up 1. Everyone starts to get shut down. They'll have control for the moment. Now we look at Vortex. He's trying to move through the front. Harry coming off spawn. He gets cut down. 3 members are going to hit from the back. Again, you need 6 more seconds. Josh will pick up 1. Nasty picks up the second. You play numbers advantage into the hill. They'll pick up the third. Again, the numbers start to fall so quickly, and they'll get inside. 6 seconds. 4, 3, only 2 or 3 more needed, and they'll be able to close it out. No one in any remote chance going to be able to cross through mid-map and come in for the contest. It was a blowout from the start. It was a blowout through the middle, and it was a stomping in the end. 250 to 133. Just an absolute wrecking on Checkmate Hardpoint. This was a dangerous-looking Orglis team.
Absolutely, and Orglis, I mean, that hardpoint was just flawless throughout, and I mean, Obtained was just unable to out-trade the way Orglis did. I mean, it felt like, you know, every time the hill got scrappy, Orglis always ended up on top. And again, like I said, Orglis is just so good at respawn and save control that they're going to be such a hard team to beat, as we just saw in this series.
Fox, watching a team dominate in Hardpoint like that, and we're talking about, you know, being able to sit in the hill and basically say, oh, you're challenging us? We'll move out. They move out, they get all the kills, they hop right back in. What do you, I'm not even gonna ask what do you do, but what did you see? Were you seeing the same level of dominance and non-worriedness? If we're gonna make up a word, let's do that. Like, they didn't look worried at all in the entire Hardpoint. They were just kind of having their way with every single hill. What did you see during that entire hill?
It's something actually that you mentioned multiple times throughout the series. You had discussed just how swingy the maps were going depending on the performance of the AR players, and that's exactly what we saw, especially in the Hardpoint, was just players like Maple were not able to come online and contribute to the team, and we saw Obtained Esports fall flat in the end.
Yeah, it really seemed like even in moments where, even in the S&D, you got Chain who started to pick up the slack a little bit, but We put a lot of pressure on the subs. We said, hey, the subs need to be able to contribute, and let's take a look at the maps throughout all the series. But it was the ARs at the end that stood out for me. I mean, just the ability to continue to put pressure where pressure was needed and apply that constant overbearingness on the hill. I mean, take a look. 250 to 231 in game 1, 6-3 win, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 in game 2. Obtained Esports bounced back mightily in the control, but we go into checkmate hardpoint. And again, this was a situation where you had Harry and Josh, who combined for at least 50 kills. They were able to pick up the necessary engagements that kept their subs without being pressured off of a rotation. And it seemed like the subs' jobs were made that much easier by their ARs, and they responded. They were able to get all the kills necessary. They were able to help their ARs out, and they were able to break each setup. There was not one setup in that entire game 4 hardpoint that I didn't think Orgless can break this. Let's look at the schedule, because there is a lot of Call of Duty to be played, and more importantly, Orgless just look really dominant right now. So I'm gonna keep my eye on them on the sidelines. But Rams versus House Tarth is coming up next, and then for North America, it's UT Crew and Built by Gamers. That's the first match of their day, followed by Subliners Academy and Wester. The biggest, most eyeballs going to be on that one. Subliners Academy and Wester, number 1s and 2s respectively in North America. We're all going to be excited to watch that for sure. But for the match that just happened, right? Again, let's talk a little bit more. Orgless now move into second place. They knocked down Obtained from into third place. So Obtained at this moment, barring anything else, if things start to shift around, if we ended the day here today, Obtained would have to play through the playoff bracket to relegate for season 2. At this moment, Orgless is now in second place, and I think if Trainhard wins, or if Trainhard loses, I don't know what that'll do to the standings at this moment, but Orgless move up. So this was the day of middle of the pack teams trying to move up into second or third. We've seen that happen. Fox, do you think Orgless has what it takes to stay in second place and possibly become a number 1-2 team in Europe?
I definitely see a very competitive roster in the form of Orgless, and I think they've shown us, not just in this series, but in previous matches, that they definitely have what it takes to be here. As far as a top force, we got some other stiff competition that would like to have something to say about that.
And Ali, I mean, we look at Obtain now. It was a great showing in Game 3 in that raid control, and we're both sitting here saying, this is what we wanted to see. This is the team we know they can be. And then it was a beatdown in the other 3 games, right? The S&D was not really close after those 3 rounds that they gave up. It was 3 in a row, then they win 3, then 3 in a row again. First hardpoint was pretty much a blowout. Same thing here. They look like they just need to work and polish their hardpoints a little bit more, but do you think that Obtained are going to fall out of that middle of the pack, or do you think that, no, this is kind of where they need to be, they just need to work on all the kinks?
No, this is definitely where they need to be. A rhythm I feel like I keep seeing between some of these teams that have all these younger players on them is they're missing a lot of leadership. And I feel like being in the middle of the pack, I feel like they'll stay there for a while, especially if they decide to stick together. I feel like they'll slowly, again, just like when we talked about Maki yesterday, they'll slowly get used to each other and build that chemistry up as the season continues to progress. But this early on, I feel like they're just missing that leadership.
Yeah, and again, we're going to see that a lot with some of these younger teams. Maybe it just takes one veteran person, maybe it takes one player with veteran experience to be able to come on and kind of guide the ship. But there's a lot of untapped raw potential for these players, so we can only wait and see if they're able to turn things around. But for now, we have to throw it to a commercial break. And when we come back, it's House Tarth and Rams who will be playing in their first match on day 2 of the Elite Series. And don't go anywhere, there's a lot of good Call of Duty coming. We'll see you guys in just a moment. Welcome back, everybody. This is the European side of the bracket for the 2021 season of the Call of Duty Challengers Elite Series. I'm a Spaceman. That is Fox and Alley. And this is a next big matchup. Journey, speaking of which, a former Atlanta FaZe Academy member. Now he is currently on Rams. Rams and House Tarth, you guys are up to bat. And this is an interesting one because there's a lot of dynamic players on both these rosters. But first, I want to welcome back my co-commentators. How you guys doing? Thanks for asking. I'm doing great as well. And I want to know from you, Fox, off the start. We look at someone like Journey. You and I both had the pleasure of casting over him last year. A lot of the times on Gunrunner, and we watched what he was able to do with Atlanta FaZe Academy. The amount of times Journey was able to come in from the backline AR, move in, get a couple of kills, and just hold down the hard point. Not necessarily slay out, but just hold it down so people could come and help out. Journey was a standout on that Atlanta FaZe Academy. Now he's on Rams. Talk to me about this young player, only 21, what he brings to the table for a roster.
You know, just 21 years old, but this man has seen some competition. The Spanish player has seen himself performing in a number of cups in La Liga de Videojuegos Profesional. LVP, he found himself in at least 3 different first place spots. I mean, he's just an excellent submachine gun player, and he's teaming alongside an awesome lineup as well. His competition, though, definitely up there. I mean, we were seeing Wee Man and Defrag. These guys saw some time on the Royal Ravens not too long ago. So it's going to be a tough matchup, but an exciting one for sure. And Journey is certainly going to be the headline of it.
Journey, only 21. One could say he's on a journey. Wow, they hired me.
I guess you could say that.
Guess what? Also, Metals. Metals is an absolute monster, Allie. We saw him. He's transitioning down now from the CDL. He was on the Toronto Ultra on one of their sub spots, one of their long list of like 19 players on that sub spot, but he was there nonetheless. Can you talk to me a little bit about what it means for a player, there was a lot of talk last year about, oh, subs don't do anything. I think that's absolutely bull. Subs have a lot of time to practice, work with the team, help the main team get better, and also they were still free to compete in challengers. Can you talk to me about what it means for a player like Metals, who has been at the Pro League, who knows what it takes to get there and have the talent to be there, being on this roster for Rams? What does that mentality do, and does that leadership carry over to such a young group of guys?
No, absolutely. Again, leadership is something I talked about a lot of these younger kids need, and Challengers is definitely a step up. I mean, being on a sub roster and still being able to compete at the level that you do, it's a financial stability that you get to be able to really focus on your craft and really put in more work and time with more of a calm mental state. So Metals probably brings a lot to this team, especially alongside Lucky and Journey. And I mean, they're 2-2 right now, but I mean, given time, they could be a definite top contending team.
And Lucky was also on that Toronto Ultra roster as a sub. He teamed with Metals back when they were on Team Heretic. So there's duality there, right? You have the experience together at the Pro League, you bring it back down to this roster, and at the end of the day, there are intangibles you learn just by being around greater talent. You learn about leadership, you learn about taking responsibility in-game, you learn about how to make the right calls as an IGL, you learn about those small, minute details that otherwise aren't picked up just by playing 8s. So I'm interested to see if that leadership does carry its way into game, if we can physically see the resemblance of that. But let's take a look at the resemblance of the maps in this series, because there's a lot to play through and there's a lot of Call of Duty to be watched. Raid, Hardpoint up first, followed by a lot of the same checkmate. It's game 2 S&D, Control on checkmate, and game 4 on the same map. Miami will close out game 5 if we have to go there. But guys, just starting with you, Allie. Look at this. Raid up first. It seems to be the vibe today. Raid, then checkmate, but then we got checkmate all the way through. Are you catching a vibe here, maybe specifically about this map, the way ARs have been playing today? Or do you think we just want to make a map that's so chaotic in Control, so chaotic in Hardpoint, as neutral for everyone across the board, so you have to beat us gun to gun, wall to wall? What are you seeing in this lineup?
Well, it's crazy that we've gotten so much Raid Checkmate today, because I feel like they're such opposite maps, where Raid is just so much more construction, where Checkmate is a lot more chaos. I feel like it's a lot more, not many places to go. Checkmate isn't normally a favorable map, so I think it's funny that we're seeing it so much across these series. But Raid Hardpoint, obviously a classic. I'm definitely looking at Rams to kind of take this one early, because I mean, again, Journey, Lucky, Metals, I mean, those are the last people I want staring down at me in lane.
And Fox, I gotta know, right? Like, Invidian is currently a flex for this team, and aside from his 3-month stint on the Atlas lines, both early in 2019 and late 2020, he's relatively new and has kind of a lot to prove, right? So far, he's turning heads, but what does it mean for a team like Rams? You have people like Metals and Lucky on this squad as well, followed by Journey. So you have 2 former pros moving their way down. You have Journey, who was a standout on Atlanta FaZe Academy last year, and now you slot in another guy, your 4th member November, and Nvidian, who's been turning heads as a flex, putting him on a map like Checkmate. Do you think he's going to have a big day? Is he going to have a big series with these 3 maps in a row? Or do you think we're going to be looking at other stars on this roster?
Hey, this is certainly the time to do it. I'm still going to be looking dead ahead at Journey. This is a submachine gun player that's shown time and time again that he will show up in that role. You know, they're in a league format. This man being in the LVP is certainly used to it. And being so young, I mean, some of these accomplishments were 5 years ago in 2016. So for them to be going for this long, I'm mostly going to be looking for Journey, and I'm sure that Nvidia will follow up.
I think we all remember back in Black Ops 4, it was one of those most iconic images from that season early in the year when Heretics were moving their way through the Pro League and they started winning a bunch of series, and you saw the owner run up and hug his guys, and I think it was like the first time a Spanish team really got that much success. But you look at Metals, you look at Lucky and the success they've had and the ability to stick together. That's a big thing, right? Because back in the day, back in like early 2013-14, the talk was around duos. It was like Zuma and Attach, and you had Replays and Study back on that old Denial roster, and, you know, Nade and Scump. Duos have persisted in Call of Duty esports for a long time, but things have changed in recent memory, and yes, there are still big duos like T2P and even looking at Minnesota Rocker, but I feel like as a young talent, it's so easy just to say, I want to move up, I want to go to this team because I can individually do more, I want to go here and leave this current roster. But I also say don't team with your friends, but I look at Lucky and Metals and I say these guys have stuck together for at least around 2 years. Fox, we've seen duos come and go, but for amateurs, it's a little bit more rare than it is at the pro scene. And the fact that they've been up to the pros and come back down together, does that dynamic itself make them a more dangerous team than everyone else?
It certainly does, and I think that the format and structure of the Call of Duty League is what permits things like that to happen, and honestly encourages it. Stick together with these players, build that chemistry, move from game to game, and carry your talents over.
And Ali, again, you're someone who has competed for a very long time, and you understand team chemistry better than all of us here on this desk. You know what it takes for a team to work well together. Have you ever had a moment in your career where you've had like a great duo? You've had someone you can rely on, and not only are the vibes there, obviously, but when things get testy in game, when they start getting a little bit too chaotic, you kind of have that unwritten sixth sense where you don't have to speak. You guys just know what to do. Is that an extra factor going into teams that we don't often talk about?
Even though playing with your friends and stick with your friends doesn't always work, when it does work and when you are in game and things start going south, it is that companionship and it is that chemistry that really does make it that much easier to make that comeback. So no, I completely agree that when you're in game with somebody that you've played so much with and you have that compatibility with, it definitely makes it a lot easier.
Well, we just talked about rosters that harken back to 2013, 2012. Let's just actually go back to maps from that time, too. It's time for Game 1. Raid is coming up first for our first Hardpoint. Ali, we thank you for your time with us on the desk, but Fox, you're going to be joining me for this series, and it means it's Rams and House Tarth up next. And again, this is another big one, because at the end of the day, if Singularity wins their matchup and House Tarth loses, Singularity would take House Tarth's place in the rankings. So House Tarth have to come out. They need to have a big series here. But on the other side, you got to go against Journey, Metals, Nvidian, and Lucky. It's a stacked roster across the board.
That it is, and we're stacked in the Hardpoint. Metals is actually up against a number of players on the opposing side on House Tarth. He's waiting and biding his time so he can have a little bit of support, but the submachine gun of Defrag pushes up and keeps the pressure on. He has the support of Weeman, the AR player, just over his shoulder for him to move up and try and get some pillar control down. Players from Art take him down, but the fight's not over just yet. Afro steps up. He's popped as well. Middle control fully shifted over into the hands of Rams. Let's see what they do with it as they rotate to our second hill.
And the first couple of kills went for Rams, but the first couple of times went to House Tarth. They grab a couple seconds. Defrag able to find one. Moving back into the kitchen. Stuns come out. Vidian working through the back. That's 3 kills. House Tarth cleaning up the kill feed and everyone else necessary. Gizmo on your screen. Gonna pop a quick little reload. XM4 in hand. Nade comes out and Metals finds the kill. 4-2 to start this one off. And there was ever a time to talk about a team like House Tarth, because we spent all of the desk talking about Rams and their success. You look at Weeman, storied career. You look at Gizmo, right? Formerly on that Singularity roster. You look at Afro, currently on the sub spot for Royal Ravens. Again, this is a current pro who's now competing in the Challenger circuit, competing against LEN players down. Talk to me again about what it means to have a very talented player like Afro coming down here to help guide this team.
Well, right. In recent years, Afro's talents are certainly being noticed a lot more. He's in the spotlight as this up-and-coming submachine gun player, and we saw that in the Challenger Series last year. We're seeing it again now as he's found his sub spot. On your screen right now is Afro on a 5 streak. House Tarth has dominated the first hardpoint. They had those favorable spawns on Laundry side, excuse me, and Rams for middle map presence were not able to take them over. So they extend that advantage to the setup on Garage as they get the initial time and spawns, and they were in a defensive positioning. However, we're seeing Rams taking over now, and they're going to be trying to close this gap.
Yeah, Lambo can be a bit of a money hill if you're able to lock it down successfully, and so far, House Tarth are doing just that, but here come Rams. Metals on your screen. Trying to pick up Afro, will do so with the beatdown. Trays for back and forth on both sides. 38-61. The time continues, but the contest is even bigger, and that's the big problem, is numbers start funneling. Afro will not pick up the kill. Gizmo is working in there with tandem, and Defrag takes down the trophy. So we slow things down for the moment. All quiet inside Lambo. Let's look at the rotation on the top of your minimap. It's Invidian rotating all the way back towards Tiki at the top of pools. And he's working together with Lucky. They're going to be spawned up early, ready and waiting for basketball court. And Journey on your screen is going to be rotating down. So they have numbers here for Rams. And now they need to work on actually getting the time.
We got 4 on the court on the side of Rams. Trophy systems in position. Journey is going to be watching that back entrance. No one's home just yet, but the play is converging. We have Gizmo and Afro rearing to take control of the entire kitchen and sort of back laundry area. First engagement goes down. Metals is going to win that one. That's a huge stop, but the pressure is still coming from kitchen.
Ooh.
It's folded. Player 5 and player 8 last alive. It's just Invidian that's capable of taking him out now. But being tagged up, he wants to wait a bit. Wee Man finally stuffed and cut short. He's going to spawn way far out. His team's already set up for the next wave of pushes, a wave of engagements though with this push.
And Lucky was able to trade one before dropping. Gizmo trying to make it 3 in a row. He won't do so. Metals with the footwork. A little bit cleaner on that engagement. 4 in a row for Metals. He's able to find 3:51 seconds and counting in the hill. As again, we slow things down. We're going to move on rotation. We're going to go to Courtyard for P4, and then we will set up for P1 again. You guys know the deal. We know how it flows at this moment. Afro able to pick up 1 kill. Almost tied up, dead even. House Tarth and Rams both battling for such a crucial spot in the rankings. And if House Tarth are able to take this in Singularity, excuse me, if House Tarth lose this in Singularity win, it's going to be an interesting day in the rankings. But at this moment, Rams are in control.
Spaceman, I'm seeing us on P5. I'm looking at Metals, who just up until a moment ago was double positive with a minute of hill time. He was on a 4 streak, and that is really what's going to tell you how Rams was able to pull back ahead in this game. The first minute and a half were dominated by House Tarth. Rams showed up to play, and they're really pouring it on now. However, House Tarth is in the driver's seat. They're in the hill, they're closing this gap, and they're bringing us a tied game in Hardpoint.
No one able to get into the hill just yet. Finally, House Tarth will move on in. Afro completely tagged up, but he'll take down 1 with him. And they have numbers inside, and it's after like the first couple of waves of kills, you start to see the game really slow down. And Fox, it's not a lot of contests, but just enough to make this one close. Gizmo going to take down 1 statue. We look at the second set of rotations and the second set of hills coming up. P1 now popped. First ones inside will be Metals and Rams and company. 56 seconds to fight over so much time, but spawned out is House Tarth. Now you have to cover through mid-map, and still alive is Invidian. He might get lucky, play spoiler for 1 in Art at this moment. Just waiting for that first pick.
Definitely a great spot to be. See what unfolds. 1 comes out of pillars. He gets tagged up in the back and finished off. Defrag falls. Player top Art is not going to fall for it, though. And as we get back to P1 for the beginning of our rotation of hills on raid here, we can check in with our players that we expected to be top performers. Metals is currently 16-9 on a 4 streak. The XM4 in hand, he's in a beautiful spot for it as the offensive front from the side of House Tarth is all coming in from Art. He loses that gun engagement as Gizmo finds the headshot on him. But still on that side, as well as Afro at 19-12. Currently the highest kill player in the game is going to be the first to break that 20 mark.
Rams get in first, they get out first as well. They're already set up for P2. We're going to go to Kitchen, and it's Journey who's able to pick up 1 kill, 2 in a row. Invidian takes down Gizmo. There goes the AR. People starting to flood through the front. It's Afro up first, Wee Man up second. Running point for the moment. They get cut down, nowhere to go in a Kitchen. Defrag wins the gunfight, and after all the chaos ensues, Lucky needs to win the second. He'll do so. Numbers continue to funnel on in. It's House Tarth putting a lot of resources into this front hill, and they have not found any success. The time continues to go for Rams. They build it ever so slightly. Defrag takes down Journey. On the outside, it's Invidian. Inside, it's Gizmo and Afro. Afro will take down Metals. Lucky sliding around, picks up 1 on the pillar, picking up the second Invidian, and the third Wee Man will drop. That's 4 dead for House Tarth, all cleaned up for Rams. They have those back spawns, they know where they're coming, and the respawn out already means that Metals has rotated the Lambo, and he has to win that first gunfight.
Scrap time going over to Ram as Journey will stay behind the remainder of his team, spawning up on circle side of the next of garage there. They're going to be pouring in from the driveway, trying to take over. They still have Gizmo on the opposite side to take care of. Between two cars, dropped prone and dropped entirely. He's going to fall as Afro follows up with a kill onto Journey. Just around the corner is Defrag with the submachine gun. He turns in. He's able to find the shot beat down, taken out by Lucky. That's a trade. All red in the kill feed. Rams dominating it. And Afro is going to try and play spoiler, clean things up a bit as he finds one kill, but still fighting alone. He's outnumbered and tagged up. They'll be quick to put him away. Still, this is a high-intensity hard point. The gun engagements do not stop. There's still no clear control as both teams are spawning up so close and instantly flooding into the objective.
Well, with Wayman out at mid-map, he's going to rotate through Arc. Think about it again. Go back to Spiral. Lucky takes down Gizmo, and now we look at the rotation. Welcome back to this hard point. It's been so back and forth, but at 204 to 146, Rams are in control, but it never really feels like this game has been pulling their way. It's been so back and forth. Weeman and Afro need to find a couple of kills to really blow this lead open and give them a chance to come back on this hill. We go to basketball court. Let's get set up, ready and waiting on P4. 3 members of Rams inside. They'll find the first 2. Weeman's left alive. There's no one else to go. Defrag is in position. You have to wait for numbers to spawn up, but it's going to take about 10 seconds to get everyone in for a hit. How do they elect to approach this? Journey waiting, Invidian right there with him. Lucky on the outside, and Metals at Pools. They have numbers here. You need the opening kills towards Pools to go through. Defrag finds one. Gizmo and Afro find the second and third. Gizmo will drop, and Afro finds the fourth. They clean it up, and a great break from House Tarth, but you only got 30 seconds, and with 2:24 left for Rams, they just need about 20-30 seconds on the next hill, and they win this game.
It is so interesting the way that this staircase plays in comparison to Black Ops 2's version of Raid. You know, we don't have the MSMC, we don't have the M8 killing in one burst. You have the AK-74U that has a decent fire rate and is so great at so many ranges. Even XM4 players are afraid to come down the stairs in that instance. Scrap time looks like it's going to be going in favor of Rams as 20 seconds separates them from their victory. As we move to P5, you see all 4 players from House Tarth are in position, ready and waiting for the Rams onslaught.
13 and 26 is Weeman. Make that 14 on a 3. He will drop 18 and 19 for Defrag. Gizmo at 21 and 23. They're set up in Courtyard first. They need a full 60 here if they want a chance to win this game, but you got to slow down Journey. That's the big problem. He's dipping and diving, but Afro finds the shot. Weeman connects with a second. And now you can slow this one down, but you also have to pick up the trades. 2:45, everyone flying in. Invidian with 3. This game's done. Game 1 Hardpoint's going to go to Rams off the back of Invidian's 3-piece in the Courtyard. And I want to steal a Foxism from 2016. Invidian just cracking them down from the skies. And what a way to close out that Game 1 win.
It sure was. I mean, we saw a high intensity, high engagement, and kill count Hardpoint here on Raid. The over 30 kills coming from Afro on the other side is certainly indicative of the fact that we see Journey approaching 30 deaths, but keeping up in terms of the objective alongside Metals. It was them keeping the pressure in the point and holding it down for his team.
And if there's ever just like a little play to kind of give us a sample of what that hard point was like, the chaos that ensued, it's Invidian's 3-piece. Yes, the 3 kills that sealed the game, but the bodies that were flying into the hill, the constant pressure at Fox, we got to a point in that first hard point where it was constant. It was like 108 to 106. It was just constant, nonstop. Everyone goes in for the break. Then we have a bunch of challenges ensue. It's chaos in the hill, and then things slow down. Then we go to the next hill. Everyone goes in for the break. Chaos ensues. Things slow down. That's kind of how the story went in Game 1. What did you notice from Journey and Metals in this Rams team, their offense going into the hill and locking it down? And you even mentioned it, right? You mentioned that Steps plays very differently to basketball court than it did back in Black Ops 2. What were you noticing from these guys as they were able to close out the first map?
I'm just noticing the high intensity, the high tempo. I'm curious as we get into future game modes how that translates, of course, with having a limited resource pool. But in terms of Hardpoint, there were a lot of highlight-worthy moments. So we can go ahead and take a look at some of those, right? At the head of them would be Afro for the side of House Tarth. I'm sure we'll be able to see a lot of him. But of course, we have to talk about Journey. We have to talk about Metals. I mean, their influence was felt very much from start to finish.
And a series just, 10 minutes ago where we talked about the ARs, right? We will translate that same sentiment. Weeman struggled a little bit. Started at 8 and 11, and it kind of got worse from there. You have Gizmo 13 and 9 was trying to pull his weight, but Defrag 9 and 11. Those subs were not able to compete at least throughout the majority of that game with Rams, and Afro was basically doing all he could. He was pulling his weight, getting inside the hill, finding 2 kills, 3 kills, able to set up for a team push. But when it came to breaking and holding, Rams were just a little bit better. Off the back of Lucky and Metals, they continued to find ways to rack up necessary kills. And then you look at Invidian, just a quiet 21 and 15, 22 and 15, continuing to find a way to stay involved in the play. And then he wins the game with a 3-piece inside courtyard. We don't go to our third set of rotations, and now we look at checkmate S&D, where again, your ARs are going to have a big game in this series, but with the firepower on both sides for subs, right? This is a sub-heavy team, and I'm going to use that term proverbially because you can pick either side. You need your ARs to also be a presence in this series because that might just determine who wins. We look at checkmate S&D for our entire map layout, then we have checkmate control, then we have checkmate hardpoint. Fox, after this, checkmate control, let's remember how hard defense is on this map on control. So this S&D is very much a swing game for the series.
That it is. We're going to be on checkmate for 3 maps in a row, at least 2 of them as Rams come in with the 1-0 lead. I have to wonder how their playstyle is going to translate into these slower game modes. Both teams, of course, seem to be able to keep up with one another in the hardpoint, but as we're slowing it down, things should change quite a bit.
Well, let's get into game 2. Let's get into the S&D. You guys know the deal. You know what map it is. We're going to be here for a while. After this, same map, control. But for now, we look at those subs. We say, will you have the same presence inside the plane like we saw in the prior series? Rams, House Tarth, a lot on the line, both ego-wise and stat-wise and ranking-wise. I'm excited to kick it off, and Journey's going to be your bomb carrier.
All right, so we're seeing a split bomb carrier leading the charge into the plane towards B site. We're looking through the eyes of Journey. This is a wall-bangable spot just around the corner. You see tacticals, trying to fish for some information. Checking all those corners. You don't want to turn the wrong one. You get cut in half. See it unfolding right here. Metals knows where they're at, tagging him up through the wall, forces Afro to back down, but he also pulls the same as Spikes are going down around the plane. Lucky's going to need a little bit of support here. He's got defrag and Metals to back him up, finding 2 kills.
Jeez.
So now 3 versus 2 as it's defrag and Afro fighting off against the majority of Rams.
Well, defrag's able to pick up Metals. 1v2. Lucky underneath. He's going to get spotted. And we made a joke yesterday, Fox. We said, oh, Garrison, things happen quickly. Just all of a sudden you blink and you miss it. Checkmate's kind of the same way on S&D. You blink and you get past that first blood. People start dropping. Weeman gets caught in the back. And as soon as Lucky locks down top plane and gets numbers over to help him out, that round was all of Rams. And at this moment, again, we continue on kind of the same path. 2-0 for Lucky, 1 kill apiece for Metals and Invidian. On the other side, Defrag and Gizmo combining for 2, but Afro and Weeman still looking to get themselves on the board. Defrag going to run bomb. We'll see if they elect to go through mid-plane. It looks like they might try to stretch it out. And I like this play from Defrag. Play on the island. They're not expecting it on Rams, and you can catch him off guard trying to work through the back.
We'll see how it works out for them all. Three of the 4 players for the side of House Tarth were located on the southern side of the map surrounding that plane. Of course, this plane is the focal point of checkmate. So many wall bangs, as you said. You blink and you miss it. A kill could happen. Someone could drop off of a wing and catch player 6 in his back. Gizmo, for all he knows. So that's why you see them moving, head on a swivel, constantly aware. Weeman is able to put down Metals. Middle map's wide open now. However, they don't know that. There's, of course, players on the A site that can still intervene. This might be the first gunfight of many that would go down on the side of the map that could decide the fate of this bomb plan. Bomb falls. Defrag is going to be dropped. And now we have things mixed up on the middle of the map as Rams is able to answer back.
That bomb is down, but it doesn't matter. Rams will clean up the necessary kills, 2-0 lead, and they just keep it rolling. On the other side, for House Tarth, you need to find first blood. That bomb a little bit hesitant to move up. And I thought off the start of that round, Fox, they might try to overextend and say, let's just go right through the back of plane. But then, you know, you worry about the ARs rotating into the lane and finding you and cutting you off. So they made the right play to not run through mid-map, but they take a little bit too long to develop the play itself. And now you look at a 2-0 lead, still entirely manageable. 3-0 for Lucky. Invidian grabbing his second kill. And we look at House Tarth. Kill apiece, 2 deaths. Pretty standard. Now what's the call for Rams? Do they like to get aggressive, go for a rush plant? Or do you try to slow it down and again play first blood?
That's a solid question. We're watching it unfold as we speak. Lucky, so far unkillable, is playing up on this B site. Probably the most dangerous part of the map. So many passengers on the opposite end of this plane to worry about. One just on top of the site. He's able to destroy a trophy system, and that should open up the potential for some lethals and utilities. You see the spam coming in. Tag him up. Attack Mask and Flak Jacket saving the day, though. That still gives the bomb planter enough time to move up to the objective and start getting some work done. Lucky is able to fire over his shoulder and keep them at bay. Still, Gizmo is caught between the eyes. The first one falls. First blood in favor of Rams. There is a response from House Tarth as Afro and Wee Man and Defrag put numbers on the board. It's Invidian left alone in a 1v3.
Such a great retake onto the site. Not much Invidian can do. He's got to find all the necessary kills. It won't happen. And that's how that broke down. You watch Rams, they put the bomb down, and as soon as House Tarth start to throw a couple of shoulders out onto the site, then you get the numbers start to funnel in for Rams. You get that call saying, hey, we have 2 locked down. We can try to play this trade. And they basically force Rams to be confident and make the play. And House Tarth sit back. They continue to play bait. And they pick up kills on the left and the right of the plane as players rotate into the site. It's just a great way to throw shoulders and bait your players out. Just, collective, smart, well-rounded textbook S&D. They pick up their first round, and they do it in a way that completely countered Rams' offense.
House Tarth, they get first blooded, then Afro responds with a kill, and they catch 3 straight in the kill feed to find their first round win in S&D. It's now going to be their turn on offense as Wee Man taking the objective in hand. He's rocking the XM4. Again, we look at the gunfights unfold that could potentially unfold on the plane. It's just one player in sight right now. That's Gizmo. 2 enemies around the corner in the form of Journey and Metals. Not too much progress made up towards the B site just yet as the bomb carrier is hanging back. We did see Afro got good ground onto the A site. I'm not sure that he knows it's empty. Regardless, it seems that the play call is towards the B site as all 4 players swarm this plane. 1 and 2, Journey and Metals to the side of the Rams. Still on the opposite end, waiting for someone to show too much of their body. Metals catches him with the XM4. Gizmo in the middle of his Semtex throw cannot finish the job. And that's first blood for the side of Rams. The defensive team is in a great spot right now.
Defrag so weak. That trophy actually might kill him if another nade comes through. He's going to throw one up on his own. He's going to get the tag. Semtex does its job. Bomb's so hesitant. It was hanging out on the wing, and now you have to commit to a site. You only got 25 seconds, folks. Afro picks up a kill. Wee Man picks up the third. 1v3. Last alive, Lucky. He's going to get shut down, so that situation goes awry. And back-to-back, this has kind of been the story for S&D so far in Week 2. One team will go up 2-0, 3-0, and then the next team will respond and basically grab a tie game. The equalizer comes in off the back of Afro on the wing. He picks up 2 kills in the final kill cam. And it's just well played all around.
Afro closing it down on top plane. He's able to find 2 kills in that one position right there. Keeping up with the pace of Rams and their positioning around that important focal point of the map. You don't want to let the enemy team get the bomb down on B. Too many opportunities to wall bang and hit a flank. There's just so many options to stop the objective from being planted. Journey looks to be the front of the line here. Gizmo is going to be the first to fall as Rams finds first blood again. Excuse me, Rams is first blooded again. 3v4 with the bomb in hand. They do find a kill to even things up, and Invidian still keeps his life. But Afro's going to push up, finding the engagement. He answers back and takes him down.
Metals in the back. Nate comes out. 52 seconds to go. That bomb is still down. 1v3 situation. What do? You got to win gunfights. Able to find one. 1v2. Wee Man going to rotate in. He should be able to know where Metals is. He absolutely does. And you can't hide all of your shoulder. Trust me, I've tried it. I'm not that good at this game, but when I try to hide, I get seen, and you won't be doing any better. Wee Man comes in for the cleanup. Invidian takes out Defrag. And once that back line is open, it's just about collapsing onto the site.
Certainly, and as we saw, Afro was able to take down Invidian, getting behind the enemy there. Awesome effort from the side of House Tarth, finding themselves up 3-2 against Rams here. If you're just tuning in, we did see a powerful performance from the side of the Rams in this hard point. We're about halfway through this search and destroy right now, and it's a much more competitive ordeal. Bomb going straight to the A site as 3 different players, including the bomb carrier, hop right on it. The defensive positioning from the Rams, though, they answer back as Metals and Lucky are able to find a kill in their spawn. Close to the action is still Invidian. Looks like he doesn't want to move too much closer to the site, but that is where the bomb carrier has chosen to stay. Unsure of what the play call is here, as we do see a flank unfolding from Wee Man, but he's still met by 3 enemies around the corner. Invidian was onto him and shut him down instantly.
Oh, that's just such a great challenge. That's an ego challenge, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Tie game, 3-3. Once Wee Man cuts down, at this moment, you just got to move to the site, right? You guys know the deal. Defragging your best play, but Just, I love, like, the stagnation, both in just terms of map layout that Rams are showing on the field, but also slowing the game down, having your ARs just sit still and wait for someone to overextend, wait for them to make that mistake. Once Wingman was out of position, you clean him up. Play numbers, 3v1.
Oh yeah,
Bomb,
Vidian plucked
yeah.
him right away. No chance for that flank to unfold. It was shut down just as it started. Moving back to the middle of the map, we see Journey at the front of all the action again. Trophy system out of his range on top of the bomb site. You have to wonder which player is going to be running Engineer to be able to see all of the equipment ahead of them. Bomb carrier still around the B site. A little bit of action unfolding towards A as Metals is in a good spot to plant, but he does not have the bomb. He's still sat at middle map. He's got defrag looking out for it, of course. Still very quiet. Early stage of this search and destroy as no one has fallen just yet. Journey, of course, the bomb carrier does not want to die alone here.
Metal's just hanging out. If he is able to get lucky enough to get defrag, you have the entire map to work through. But at this moment, waiting for Journey to find first blood. He won't. Checks the wrong corner, but the right idea. 2 kills will fall. Make that 3. That should be the round for House Tarth, as Metals will take down 1. 3 alive for House Tarth. Metals last up. Wingman will take him down. And you check the right site. You basically look a little bit too high. Player was crouching behind the bomb. Can't pick up the kill. The Wingman on your screen, doing just such a great job. Again, doing exactly what Rams were able to do in that last round, being just a constant stationary AR in the bag, not needing to move out too much. Watch the overextension. Take down Metals. Tie game once again.
Yeah, we kind of saw it unfold there. As I mentioned, Journey is not the one that you want to die first. The bomb carrier, of course, coming in, gets pieced up by 2 different players. He has follow-up behind him, but that player falls too, and with the bomb down, dead center on site in the middle of the map, you know, you kind of saw everything else unravel at that point. Another opportunity for the side of House Tarth on offense. Player 7, defrag, hanging back with the bomb. We're seeing our opening engagements towards the B site. Of course, a lot of playing for information, tossing tacticals and lethals. Afro tags someone on the opposite side. He catches a stun. Tac Mask saves him. He backs off from that engagement. A gunfight's going down, though. Lucky finds defrag at range for the first blood, Spaceman.
And he's going to back up. I like this call. Wingman and Gizmo both on site. There go the nades. You're going to eat that, no problem. Invidian takes down Afro. Gizmo gets shut down. Wingman will skip out on Metals. 3v1. Wingman last alive under the plane. He's going to drop. As this tongue-tied commentator now sees a tie game 4-4. And just, again, welcome to how Checkmate S&D plays sometimes. After first blood, numbers collapse quickly. And when you realize you're down 4-2 or in a 1v3 situation, it's very difficult to bring that back.
Similar to Garrison, it's a lot of waiting and baiting, and in this brawl, it is back and forth as we are knotted up again at 4-4. Very slow, methodical search and destroy, but all it takes is that one play in the beginning for everything to become explosive. Lucky pushes up towards the middle of the site. He's got the bomb carrier on the opposite end of the plane. Not much to worry about just yet as they're not close to the site. And Spaceman, what are you seeing happen?
I'll say, does he see Wingman's foot? And it doesn't matter anymore. Invidian gets shut down. Gizmo will get the kill. So first blood for House Tarth. I just wasn't sure, Fox. If he saw Wingman's foot, I thought that's why he kept clambering just up on top of the box. But, I mean, first blood for House Tarth. This is a round they should win.
Got Lucky underneath the plane. No competition just yet. 3 enemy players on House Tarth on the opposite side near that staircase, though. I think he knows better than to creep up on that one. Wingman is just waiting for it. Hanging in the back is defrag. Someone to remember, he's still overlooking the A site, still ready and available to play onto B as well. He's going to be someone keeping them in check from playing around the wings. So it's really just going to be a lot of House Tarth playing that man advantage. Metals looks to even things up. He gets away and out with his life as Journey also finds a kill. Metals is just wasting their time tucking through all these corners, and he catches one in the back for some damage. You gotta love the disruptive play from Metals so far. It's defrag last alive for House Tarth, though, on the opposite side, and a 1 versus 2.
Well, it pulled everyone's attention. Now up in a clutch situation. Can defrag do it? He's got them both on the wing. He's going to go for the challenge. He's going to get one. No, he won't. Lucky will get the kill. And honestly, that round was all set up by Metals. They have a 3v4 situation. They've lost Invidian in the back off of Gizmo. This is a round that House Tarth should have closed down, but Metals escapes and just plays bait. He plays catch and mouse and roams through the back. You have to pull the attention of House Tarth off of sight and make sure you cut him down. And then you're looking at just a situation where you play numbers advantage. You play one-on-one. If you win those gunfights, you're winning the round. Rams do just that. They play the 2v1 on the plane. We'll make sure everything's okay. But again, it's just impressive the way that Rams still have, a numbers disadvantage, but make it look like it didn't even matter. And at this moment, Fox, with how this S&D has gone, with how back and forth it has been throughout this entire series, even looking at that hard point, right? We look at before we moved into the second set of rotations, it was almost a dead even game, and then eventually it started getting a little bit out of hand. But looking at that S&D, first bloods do always matter, but you can see what someone like Metals, who has been a pro on the Toronto Ultra roster as a sub, you can see what he brings to the table, the ability to stay alive and create problems outside of the play that make it so difficult to lock down said rounds. What were you seeing from House Tarth on the other end that was keeping them in the game? Because every time it looked like Rams were getting the lead, House Tarth just brought it back.
Just this kind of death ball composition, right? You always saw three players clustered up in the back of that plane, watching all lanes, playing defensively, waiting for someone on the side of Rams to run up and find a kill on the flank, only just to get popped as soon as they turn the corner. House Tarth was especially good at this when they would find that first blood. They play patient, run that clock, and it was still an awesome effort from both of them. So if you're just tuning in, of course, we had a little bit of an issue there. We're sitting at 5-4 in favor of Rams. It's been an exciting search and destroy both far, highly competitive. But we will have updates for you here shortly, and what is an awesome performance from both of these teams.
Yeah, it was 5-4 Rams, and we haven't really talked a lot about Journey in this S&D, which is kind of wild, right? Like, we've been talking about Invidian a little bit in those back islands. We've talked about Lucky and Metals, but Journey's been there, involved, and I know it sounds really stupid, and it is stupid because he's such a great player, and the fact that everyone else is, again, pulling their weight and contributing to this current lead, and when we get back in for House Tarth, you cannot afford another situation. Yes, you're down 5-4. You need to win the next two rounds, but you can't afford a situation again, Fox, where you have first blood. No one had moved. After that first blood, we went through a minute or so of game where no one moved. Everyone started moving up together, but no one was peeking, and then things collapsed thanks to Metals. You can't afford to have man advantage and still lose the round when you have all of your backlines locked down. Is it just one player taking over, or was it a collapse from House Tarth that you noticed?
I definitely think on the side of House Tarth, I think it was a well-rounded performance from all players in the lobby. We're really just getting a highly competitive search and destroy right now. Yeah. We mentioned Journey a little bit. He sat at 5-5 with 2 points in the objective column in that search and destroy. And I think that is representative of what he was doing in that search and destroy, right? He's playing up on the B side. He's always that first player, typically your bomb carrier, and he's playing up against 4 statues. House Tarth, they're not moving. They're not giving anything away. The first bloods were really happening along the sides of the map, and then we would see things unfold in the middle. But up until the later stages, it was just a lot of that.
And looking at House Tarth, this is even a team that S&D wise is probably up with one of the best in Europe in terms of just composition. You got Weeman, Defrag, Gizmo, who was brought in on Singularity last season, who was an absolute monster. Like, he was putting up 11 consecutive or so kills in S&D on St. Petro, constantly playing towards that A site and just sniping people off the cross. Like, he was insane. And then you also add in Afro, who currently is a pro player, a sub for the London Royal Ravens, who was a standout last year. So have you ever looked at rosters in Europe and you look at this team, Weeman, Defrag, Gizmo, and Afro? This is another stacked roster that, again, just needs to continue to work on some of the fundamentals, and they might be able to get up towards that top 2 conversation. For Rams, a little bit younger in terms of experience, but you have Lucky and Metals, who both, again, were on Toronto Ultra, and this duality continues throughout the hardpoint. It continues into the S&D. You saw it, right? The way that Metals was able to stay alive, and Lucky picking up necessary kills at bottom plane. This team looked good, and we continue to move through this series. We're currently still in game 2. We're going to get everyone back in, and when we get going, it's 5-4. So Rams only need to win one more round. For House Tarth, you got to win 2. That's it. There is no question. You have to win the next 2 if you want to take game 2. At this moment, I have to feel like Rams are in the driver's seat. The momentum is on their side, but maybe do you think this little pause might actually help House Tarth kind of slow it down, breathe a little, and fix some of their mistakes?
It's a tough call. We can't really tell what's going on in their minds right now because we're seeing all the players perform. There's no one maybe lagging behind. Of course, coming off of that loss in map 1, that's got to be playing in the back of House Tarth's mind. But
Sure.
getting into game 3, we're back into Respawn. We've seen how cool, calm, and collected they can play in Search and Destroy. So as we move into Control, I'm interested to see more of the same. I also kind of wonder in terms of the pace, the just how quick and explosive some of the submachine gun players, especially on both of these teams, are. What it's going to look like on Checkmate Control.
And we saw even in that last round where it was a 4v3 and you had numbers if you're House Tarth. We saw, right, Gizmo takes down Invidian, and I was wondering, did Invidian spot Weeman on the back left of the plane? Did he spot his leg? Invidian gets dropped, Gizmo comes towards the top wing, takes him down. So you have positioning. You have positioning there for House Tarth, but the fact that they were so far pushed up, they have basically middle of the plane and sight locked down. There's nowhere that Rams can go and get a good look. The fact that they still had all of that map presence and you let Metal slip behind and cause enough of a distraction to swing the round back in Rams' favor, that is what worries me, right? Whether we want to go the length of the series, if the series even goes 5. But looking at this S&D, you have complete map control, and I know it's S&D, but you still gave up one player having that much freedom to move through your spawn. It was a lot, right? Even in that play, he doesn't get a single kill, but he does enough damage to bring enough attention off the site. I feel like maybe going into this restart, it's going to take one of those plays. It's going to take one of those plays from House Tarth to kind of reset the bearings and take Rams off their game to make them a little bit uncomfortable. They can't always watch every angle, and maybe they get lucky and win the next 2 rounds. But your prediction going back into this one, do you think it's just going to be, one round and boom, we're out of this? Or are we going to see, I guess, a flip from House Tarth and they're going to take it?
It's tough. It could really go either way. I think I do think I see House Tarth coming back. I think that the 5-4 lead that we saw in favor of Rams is not solid. I think that House Tarth has shown round after round in the Search and Destroy just how competitive they can be, and that they're certainly up to the level of Rams in Search and Destroy, at least in this instance on Checkmate Search and Destroy. And again, I want to give a quick shout out to Afro. I'm looking forward to see what this submachine gun does to keep up with players like Metals and like Journey on the opposite side.
I mean, at this moment, you got 2 tries, right? If you're Rams, you have 2 rounds to give. You had to win, or you go to another round. If you win that, you won. If you don't, you lost. So I feel like at this moment, this series could be tied. I think that House Tarth are able to do it. If in terms of predictions and kind of moving along that storyline, I think they desperately need to win this map, because given everything that's happened, given the chances you've had in this S&D, if we go to a control, we've seen it before, the series is not over, but it will be more difficult with how close the series has been. But I think Rams have 2 chances and they're going to take it. I believe also we're almost ready to go, but I'm taking Rams. I think that even with their ability to come back from the man disadvantage, they look really good right now. I know that you're taking House Tarth, so one of us has to be right, Fox. That's the blessing. But so far in this series, Checkmate has been an interesting map to start off the year, right? We've seen tens and tens of maps in Call of Duty's competitive career, and Checkmate is one of the weirder ones, and I mean that in a good way. It very much depends on middle map, which is not necessarily something that always happens in S&D. Most of the time you play the outskirts, you play those long lanes, and that's where most of the big gunfights happen. But this is very much centered around that plane. This is very much centered around how do you have control of mid map, and if you have it in the plane, you're almost, not always, but almost guaranteed to have a chance to win the round. Do you think this map plays differently than other maps we've seen in COD's history, or is this just another we need to wait for the meta to evolve?
I think that we see a lot unfold around the plane in the middle of the map, as you said. I mean, it's just this awkward oblong shape in a map full of boxes, right? They're inside this big aircraft. We'll call it a garage. I don't know how many of you guys have airplanes in your garage.
Like a hangar or something.
Think of a hangar. That's the word I'm looking for. Right.
Big old aircraft garage.
Only hangers I got are in my closet. But this one, I mean, of course, we're looking for that first wall bang on the B site. You saw Journey front and center, ready for that action. Yeah. And that's the way the Checkmate plays out. Control is a very interesting beast, but Hopping back into the search and destroy, of course, we're waiting for the closing moments, the conclusion of this matchup. What we saw was a 5-4 lead with Rams in the driver's seat of that search and destroy. A very competitive matchup, and we're going to get to see the conclusion of it here.
Yep, if you're just joining us, again, this is game 2. Rams currently up 5-4. And off this restart, again, they just need one more round. They will take it and go up 2-0 in the series. For House Tarth, you had a chance to tie it up go up 4-5. But now, we're off the restart. Metal's on your screen. A couple of stuns come out. That bomb with defrag, he's going to work around the left side of the plane. And you could tell House Tarth want to set the momentum off the start. They want to be able to get the bomb down and get a quick couple of kills and send this to another round.
They're looking to make it work. They still have Journey to deal with. Not just Journey, but Metals on the stairs. 2 players for the Rams sat in the back as Invidian and Lucky. Gizmo alongside the bomb carrier. The whole squad, as I said, as a collective, as a unit, they're moving and rotating towards the A site. Let's see what this looks like through the eyes of Lucky. He's got defrag turning the corner, tags him up, pre-aimed. He was ready for that one as he takes him down. Gizmo catches Lucky as well. So a kill apiece for both sides at the moment as the bomb carrier moves towards middle map. You see the audible in action. They're moving to the B site. They still have some competition. Metals isn't going anywhere. He's still ready to hold his line. Gizmo pushing up with the submachine gun and bomb in hand. He's going to pop the objective, and he's still got a fight to have on the opposite room ahead of him. Double kill from Metals, and that should be a defuse as Rams should close it out with their 6th round win. But if you're just tuning in, this is the conclusion of Game 2 between Rams and House Tarth. This is the 2021 Challenger Elite, and we've had an exciting series so far.
Yeah, and that retake was even better. Metals with 2 kills. 1, bang, 2, almost. Yeah, Gizmo, nice try peeking. And being able to retake the site, right? Numbers advantage again goes the way of, it was Rams at first. They get first blood. Then it gets drawn back to House Tarth, tied up even. And then it just collapsed onto the site. From there, Rams take the game. They're up 2-0 in the series. And guess what? We got checkmate control and then checkmate hardpoint. We got checkmate coming up 2 more maps if we need to go that distance. But at this moment, we have to sit and again talk about the S&D. It was back and forth. I think this is one of the closest S&Ds we've had so far in this 2-day split. All of us have been working on this desk. And it started with a lot of momentum from Rams and then a lot of slowdown and control from House Tarth. And then one small mistake from House Tarth that didn't give them the round. And then one small man advantage they didn't take advantage of. They let Metals roam through the back. And it just seemed like everything that House Tarth did well, Rams called a counter. And they were able to make something out of nothing. And that is what propelled them into the 6-4 S&D win. Do you think that this is enough to give them momentum going into Game 3? Do you think that Rams are going to be able to take this series? Or are House Tarth just having to shake this one off and say, hey, it was too close to call, and we can only play it better next time?
I think that you touched on it appropriately. Rams has in their arsenal the fluidity of their play calling and their decision making, especially Metals players that are able to capitalize on opportunities like that with the freedom of movement that he can get behind enemy lines. So I think that what we're looking for here is a Rams 3-0. I think that as we get into this next match, it's, of course, I think it's going to be competitive, but I think that Rams is still going to be able to edge out House Tarth in the end.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. I think at this moment, Rams are in the driver's seat. Game 1 was a bit of a storyteller. They were able to write it appropriately. Here come the maps for the series as well. We will be sitting on checkmate. It was Rams winning raid hardpoint in Game 1, 250 to 184. They take the S&D in a back-and-forth battle, a tug-of-war, if you will, 6-4. And now we move to checkmate control. And we know that defense on checkmate is easy, but offense is everything but. It is difficult to secure the points on this map in control. So if you are Metals, if you are Lucky, you're going to be able to feed through the plane. On the other side for House Tarth, that control that they showed in Game 2, they need to have that same similar that guiding hand over the map, right? They need to be able to slow the game down and control each other as they move through and try to capture each point, because offense on checkmate is like one of the hardest things outside of Moscow A site, which back when Control was played on Moscow, like the first 3 weeks of this game's launch, it was literally impossible. Like, you couldn't capture that site if you tried. You needed streaks, you needed smokes, and you needed a Hail Mary from God. At this moment, The runner-up is checkmate control. It's probably the second hardest to capture, but they have to be able to control mid-map. You have to be able to find the necessary kills. It's a saying we say a lot, but we're going to say it again. What are you looking at for House Tarth, Fox? Is there one specific thing they need to do if they want to bring this to a 2-1 series?
For House Tarth, I'm looking for a team led by Weeman, dictated by the movement of players like Defrag and Afro to have to come out strong against Rams here. I mean, players like Metals and Journey have shown that they're not going to let up and that they're able to work well in this roster. It's going to be a tough fight. Again, both you and I have predicted it so far that Rams should be able to take it, but their second chance on checkmate, and now is their final chance to be able to shut that down.
Yeah, and again, the B control side is right under the plane, and you have A on the left outskirts of the shipping, and that's the hardest one. A is by far going to be a challenge for both offenses, so if you're defense, you're almost, at this moment, at least with the start of, the CDL and Challengers League, you're almost guaranteed to win if you're on defense, if you avoid being blown out in the kill count. At this moment, it's going to come down to who plays better offense. We wait for everyone. We're almost there, and I think that all players are excited, right? Like, you're getting to checkmate, and this is a big test. If you are House Tarth, you're in a position to win one of the hardest maps and mode combos, and if you do that, there's no reason you can't go right into the same map on Hardpoint in Game 4 and win that and send it to a Miami S&D. I still think, though, that Rams have the momentum, and I do agree with you. But how close do you think we're going to be? Fox, do you think it's going to be a 3-0 in this map? Do you think it's going to be 3-2, 3-1? I feel like this one is going to go back and forth because both offenses struggle.
Yeah, I'm seeing a 3-1. I don't think, at the very least, I'm seeing a 3-1. I don't think that Rams is just going to take this game and run away with it. I think it's going to be a lot of back and forth before they inevitably pull away with it in the end.
Sure.
Rams, awesome team. House Tarth, great competition. Looks like the game is starting and we can actually hop right into the competition. Again,
well,
if you are just tuning in, this is the 2021 Challenger Elite Series for the Call of Duty League Challenger Series. We're watching Rams face off against House Tarth. We're in Game 3 as Rams are up 2-0.
Who's winning offense first, Fox? Who's doing it?
I'm gonna let you make this call first. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. I don't know. I'm thinking. Look, I think House Tarth can absolutely do it. I think if there was ever a time to win an offense, do it on the first point. Do it on the first round. Set the tone for the game. So far, they picked up a couple of kills, 28-27. Again, we've just started to kick this one off. If you're just joining us, a 2-0 lead in the series for Rams. House Tarth trying to battle back. It's been so close at times, but Rams continue just to squeak it out. And as those spawns come in towards backwood, you're looking at plane control. Weeman picking up the third. Defrag combines for 2. And they're going to be able to get the second tick in onto A. His Afro will drop. Gizmo will pick up the kill. And they have 2 ticks in. And all of a sudden, A looks entirely doable.
3-0 off the start from Defrag and Weeman. Afro hasn't even had to find a kill yet, and they're already making Tier 3 tick progress on the A control site. Also making moves over to B. Rams needs to step it up and get their foot on the gas. Stop House Tarth's aggression. In the opening moments, they've already been able to capture a point, and they got 2 minutes on the board to find the second. Now, you mentioned the way that offense plays out on checkmate here. What are you watching unfold before us as we make moves to the B site with 2 minutes on the clock?
I mean, the only way to really play this map correctly if you're going to A off the start is get the first wave and 2 of kills. They did just that. House Tarth were able to pick up everyone, 19-17, and they were able to take out the kills from the point. They captured it quickly, which is another crucial part, and they move right to B. So now you can slow the game down. You have about a minute or so until you need to make a decision and really start committing as a team. And B is a little bit easier to capture, but they survive the utility wave. Defrag and Gizmo, defrag for 2, 6 and 3 off the start. They have control of plane. These are where your subs can go absolutely crucial. Invidian off spawn is going to get peppered with a couple of shots, but Journey and Lucky will take down Gizmo. And I like the retake for Rams. They're trying to slow the game down on defense, and now they're coming back in the deficit. 15-14. Lives now favoring House Tarth. They're going to collapse in, but that's 3 more kills for Rams. And it still favors House Tarth in the kill feed.
Yeah, Defrag so busy for the side of House Tarth. You'll see his name quite a bit. Currently leading in kills, tied alongside Lucky on the opposite side for the team Rams. Point B progress, tick progress is underway as we approach Tier 1. House Tarth is in a great position to stick it. There is a flank unfolding. You see Journey, who's going to meet with 2 players straight off the spawn. He finds one, that's V-Man, kind of thinning the herd of players moving towards the B site. As you look at the life differential, still pretty close, neck and neck. 8 lives for House Tarth, 7 lives remaining for Rams. And as all 4 players are up, we watch the next wave of kills unfold. So far, it's 2 in favor of House Tarth. The first response comes from Journey, as he's able to take down Gizmo. Afro, moving up through the middle of the map, is still able to hold down Plane for House Tarth in the end. More tick progress is on the way.
Yeah, but they actually have to hop onto the point. That's the problem. Finally, they'll do it. Working towards that second point. Time stops at 11.8 seconds. Metals and Vidian combined for 2 kills with the nade. But it's 3-2. It's a 3-2 inside the point. You gotta fly. Journey with the nade tagged up. He's able to survive, and Metals picks up the kill. 2v2 now. You have 8 seconds to play around. They're working on the third tick. Journey from behind ticks down Afro. The defense is there. Wee Man last alive. He has to hop on or at least find both kills. Will not be able to do it. And Rams fighting back in the difference in the kills. They're able to rally some defense around the point. They play time appropriately, and they force House Tarth to put bodies on the point. They get cut down. There's nothing House Tarth can do. Talk about just a great defensive round. The fact that you give up A off the start and you have to play a minute 28 under Plane. So well executed. They take the first round.
Yeah, we're taking a look at Wee Man. His presence was certainly felt, especially in the opening moments of this control. Afro spent much of it without a kill as his teammates were racking them all up. He was able to collect tick progress for the A site. In the end, though, the Rams were able to hold it down with the remaining B site, and now it's going to be their turn on the prowl on offense. You see several players dedicated instantly to getting that plane control. Metals is at the head of it all.
Metals will find first blood. Now we fly in. Oh, Metals will find second blood as well. 10-6, 5 in a row. They're going to get onto the point, and I like what I'm seeing from Rams. They're saying, we're going to do the exact same thing House Tarth just did. Afro off spawn gets peppered with a couple. Will not fall. Now everyone onto A. Utility comes out, and it looks like House Tarth are going to let them get A for the moment. Journey's working at top lane, able to pick up 1. Will not take down defrag, but third tick coming in onto A. 2 players still there. Finally, House Tarth get the call. We need to move on over. Metals last alive, 1v4 on the site, able to pick up 1. Will not get the second. Almost get everything done onto A. Here come the nades, here come the stuns, but the decap comes through, and now Rams will have to regather for another hit.
Wow, 6 streak from Metals shut down by a 3-man pinch onto the A site. They reset that third tier of the tick progress for the A control point. We'll have to see how Rams is able to answer back. They have a minute to complete it. They also have tier 1 progress on B, although it's incomplete. So, Rams, after being shut down in that instance, they got to answer back.
Defac's going to get shot in the back if he's not careful. Gizmo is able to clean up 1. There it goes. Challenge in. The kills start to fall for House Tarth, 22-20. They get the lead back. Invidian 6-11 on the other side. 3-12 for Afro. He is having an abysmal start to this control. But only 22 seconds. You have to commit to a site now. Rams have burned a lot of time, have not been able to get that third tick onto A. Afro going to try to come in and beat him. Invidian gets cut down. They have not gone anywhere near B. 11 seconds again. The defense holding strong for both sides. Metals with a big 1v1. 1 more in the back. He'll get cut down, and no one's going to be able to come in for a contest. That's all dead thanks to Wee Man, and that'll do it. House Tarth's defense survive. They assault onto A, and they tie it up 1-1.
Yeah, and it just really wasn't enough follow-up from the play that Metals had started off for this team. He went on a 6 streak, sat on that point. We saw him step out a bit and get a little bit aggressive to see if he could stop the players that were coming to interrupt his progress on the site. He ends up hopping back onto the objective and getting pinched from all sides with very little support and absolutely no follow-up. That tick progress was reset and never got past that point, so House Tarth was able to hold it down for the remainder of that round.
6-13 for Invidian, 4-12 for Afro. Both players struggling. Both defenses have stepped up, but it's been kind of a reversal of what we said on the desk, right? We expected A to be the hardest one to take. Apparently, everyone else thought differently, and okay, that's kind of what the story is here. 2 kills fall for House Tarth. They've moved into the B site. They're going to work on that first tick. Metals gets cut down to the top of plane. 1 more rotating through. That should be Journey. It will be. He's going to take down Wee Man. 2 kills fall. 1 underneath. Afro wins the gunfight. Shouldn't have, but does it anyway. Finally, on a 3 spree, Afro getting involved. He will drop. And they're going to move over to A, and I like the split resources. There's one, there's two. Invidian, 2 big kills. Afro coming off spawn might be the 3rd victim, but Invidian gets shut down, and you can thank Wee-Man for that.
So far, what we've seen in this control is Afro honestly being invalidated on the side of House Tarth, but still, they've been able to hold strong and go toe-to-toe with Rams in this control. Tied up at 1-1, we're still seeing a dogfight on both the B control point and the A control point. Player 4, Gizmo, moves up on it, trying to get some progress. 2 players around the corner. He catches Invidian. 1 more on the way behind him. Is he aware? Now he is, as it's contested. He can't make any more progress without taking them down. 2 kills in a row for House Tarth. Only 1 in response to Rams as Wee-Man catches another in the trade.
Second tick coming through onto A. It should go through. No one else is there to contest it. Will, they have to hop on this or at least find the kills. There's 2. Won't get the 3rd. Wee-Man's still alive. Never mind. He gets taken down. No, he's actually still up. He's still contesting and capturing the point. Finally, he drops just before A gets captured. 26 seconds. Again, now what's the call? Do you commit to A? It looks like that is the play. Trades come through. Players fall back and forth. Afro on your screen picks up 1. Shut down by Plane. Journey with the kill. Another will come through. Gizmo locks it down. They're going to get A and put another minute on this clock.
House Tarth secures point A and awards himself another minute to make their attempt towards B. We have 1 player sat in the corner that's in Metals waiting for it to happen. Lucky certainly thins the herd with that double kill. He's going to find high ground and try and catch them off spawn as well. And we take a look at the life differential, even on both sides. So with 1 minute to play, it's going to be a tough battle with just 10 lives remaining.
And Lucky gets 1 kill, but might have bought his team enough time to continue to put numbers at mid-map, but they keep getting slaughtered. Wee-Man and Afro get 2 kills. Journey will take down Defrag. 43 seconds to go, folks, and Wee-Man on your screen looking for Journey in the back, has Defrag behind. Defrag coming off spawn, needs to pick up Journey and take him out of position. Afro thinking the same thing. 35 seconds. That first tick now finally moving on to B. 1 player there, 1 underneath the plane as well. I believe that's Lucky. It will be. Lucky gets shut down. And Metals will take down Afro. 1 will fall. Back and forth we go. 24 seconds. Metals can just play contest. If he keeps winning these one-on-one gunfights, this could be an easy round win. 5-3. Life count in favor of House Tarth. Now 4-3. But Rams aren't giving any room to move. They don't want to get peeked. The trades come through. 2v3. Invidian on top of plane. Going to get shut down from the back. He will. And now just a 1-on-3. You have Lucky last alive. What do? You can't really do much. You have to hope for a prayer. Picks up Afro. Gizmo there. There goes the nade. Second tick about to come through. Can he find Defrag? Possibly. Nade comes out. He's going to get traded. House Tarth will take their second round.
So you see the limited resources of lives playing out in real time just there. Play slowed down as they realize the war of attrition is coming to an end. They were very close, very even in life totals. But of course, the lower it gets, the longer you see them hold that trigger and pre-aim. The final remaining player for House Tarth right there, caught in a very tough position of having to fight outnumbered. And of course, it's going to, the Rams player there left alone, outnumbered. That's going to result in House Tarth winning it in the end. Wee-Man looks like he's going to be approaching 30 kills before many players in the lobby even approach 20. High engagement game from him, and really you see it coming out of his XM4 with every shot. Just finding a headshot moments ago before getting his own taken off by Journey. Hoping to connect with a second. He can't do it as Afro for House Tarth is able to get the trade on plane. Plane control now awarded to the team in white.
Boss, quick little update for you. It's just giving this nice little stat, and we thank them for that. Singularity is currently up 2-0 over Trainheart at the moment, which means if Singularity win that series and House Tarth loses this, Singularity takes House Tarth's place. They move up to 3rd through 6th, and House Tarth gets relegated out. So this is a must-win series. Singularity up 2-0 over the best team currently in the standings in Europe. Didn't expect that, but hell, that's kind of how Call of Duty works sometimes. And at this moment, you have about 30 seconds. Again, trying to commit to a site. Afro with a double kill. 17-24. Life count continues for House Tarth. They're finding kills left and right. Defrag is looking for players moving out of spawn. They're spawning back NASA. What do you possibly do? 19 seconds. You have to move in onto the site. And House Tarth are in prime position to take this control and win it 3-1.
See, Rams gave Afro way too much time. He's online now, caught up with the rest of the team at 17 and 22. As I mentioned, Wee Man is able to break 30 kills, picking up some of that slack throughout the control here. With 10 seconds remain, we're looking for the eyes of Journey. Sat on top of Capture Zone B. He is set up with a little bit of protection. He's got the trophy system to support him. He's trying to find another minute to put on the clock. But of course, the side of House Tarth isn't going to make it easy. 3 straight kills come out of the Rams. 5 seconds on the clock, and they're trying to capture zone A and B simultaneously as House Tarth comes up off spawn. They're quite a distance away, so we will see some tick progress before they answer to it. But keep in mind that they are 3 versus 4 for this next engagement.
They had 20, like 6 to 13. Now it's 13-11. How did they come back in this lead? They still have a chance to win this. I know it's a little bit more hectic than it should be, but at this moment, it's 12 to 10. They have a tick going down onto A. The second one will go through. You have to commit numbers. Everyone flies in for House Tarth. From the sky is Gizmo. All 3 dead by Journey. He's in onto A now. They're going to get the tick through. They put a minute back on the clock from the brink of nothing. Rams have survived this offensive hold. They have brought the kills back 9 to 8. Journey needs to stay alive. Metals and Lucky combining. They take down 2. Metals and Journey again. Journey with the 3rd. They're going to get this tick in. They win a round that they should have absolutely lost. And the defense from House Tarth just choked that entire round.
Rams with the lead foot. They're looking to send House Tarth to relegation. An awesome comeback in that round of control. A number of kills in a row. They were able to dump some water on that fire set by Afro. Wee Man, still at 30-plus kills, could prove to be a huge threat in the closing moments of this control as we get into the tiebreaker, the final moments of this match.
I mean, Fox, you were up in their spawn. House Tarth were in their spawn. There was no reason to be up like 24-16, 24-15, continually take them off the map, and then lose both points and get spread out as a defense. That is just all props to Rams. They played it perfectly. They realized they had to commit to both to split the defense of House Tarth, so that way you possibly get lucky with a couple of kills and finally put a minute back on the clock. They do it. They pull off the right play. They commit as a team. Lucky with 2 kills on a 3 spree. 32 and 21, by the way. 30 kill, 30 bomb for him. This is just a miraculous showing from Rams. On the other side for House Tarth, you have to continue just to slay out at this moment. You have not been playing great defense, but you've been lucky because Weeman, it has a 30 bomb as well. You have Defrag at 24 and 25. Everyone is pulling their weight. You just have to continue to let the kill count favor the side of House Tarth. 25-24, now make it about dead even. Journey working through the back, trying to wrap behind A. He's going to get cut down red easily. Afro and Gizmo will get 2. The second tick should come in onto A.
I mean, take a look at how many of these kills from Lucky are objective kills. This guy's got 30, plucking them straight off the point. Progress is being made into Tier 3 on point A. Defrag falls, but not before House Tarth is able to collect it in the end. They now have a minute 44 seconds to take down the B side. Afro finds himself on a 5 streak. The submachine gun player has turned online. 2 players around the corner know he's there, and they're looking for him, but he still is able to tag him up and take him down. Pressure is still on as they are trying to get him out of here. Gizmo is finally the one is going to be able to follow it up alongside Wee Man. Afro with awesome effort at that 8 point and is certainly a huge reason as to why we're seeing Tier 3 progress on point B.
Oh, 2 big kills. There's Journey. He finds both. 30 and 31. He might have just saved the game for Rams, but you have a lot of lives you got to get back. 16 to 12. Journey still alive. Women on the other side. A minute 23. Plenty of time for House Tarth to regain their bearings and come back together for a team hit. Weeman's going to get cut down. It's Metals on your screen, completely tagged up, but dead even, and neutralizing that 3rd tick. Journey with the follow-up kill. 14 to 11. Now it starts to get a little bit worrisome. How do you play through this? Everyone coming off spawn, needing to find the necessary kills. Rams have 4 players spread out at the bottom of the plane. You're looking at Nvidian on the other side. Going to take down Wee Man. That will work. 13 to 10. Now we look at the utility starting to be a factor as 2 will fall. Afro picks up the kill. AR taken out. Tick starts to come in from Gizmo. Nvidian on spawn, but Metals needs to pick up this kill. Working through the back is Wee Man. He should be able to take him down. He will. A 10 to 8 Fox. This one's going to come down to the wire.
It's so tough because if you're the Rams, you cannot be outside of hop, skip, and a jump range of this point, right? Because it's only one tick away from being completed. House Tarth, they're still in the lead with lives, but only by 2 points. Journey has been in this position for most of this map up to this point, putting up such a great fight. He finally reaches a 30 kill club with the rest of the players in the lobby. It looks like Weeman is actually approaching 40. He should have enough time to do it here. Metals looking for a key engagement on the point. He stops the progress once again. 20 seconds left. The Rams are poised here. Clutch it up, Space.
Jeez, he's gonna find 3. No, he's not, but Gizmo shuts him down 4-1. Lucky, this is the situation. 1v4. Can you do it? Not gonna happen. House Tarth are gonna send us to a hard point on the same map.
Wow, and an explosive conclusion as we see Rams finding their second wind to come back from a massive life pool deficit. But still, in the end, House Tarth had Afro scaling and just getting better and better as the map went on. Weeman consistent and pouring it on from the get-go. An awesome performance from both of these teams. As expected, we knew that this was going to be a competitive map in what was already an intense battle of a series.
This was too close for comfort if you're House Tarth. You do win, you do send us to another game, but at this moment, look, the first play off the start of Game 3 was, let's go to A, let's just get this out of the way. They did it successfully. And then the last 2 rounds, Fox, we're talking about a life differential of like 6 or 7. Consistently, Afro finding ways to get triple kills and spawn. And it came down to literally 3 or 4 lives and a failed hit 2 or 3 times. Eventually, they break through. House Tarth survive, but that was not a convincing win. It's a win nonetheless, yes, but that was kind of worrisome. Let's take a look at the replays, because the fact that Rams were able to be down by so many lives and continue to bring the game back, that just shows you how strong this team is when it comes to slaying and clutching up in the big moments. But for House Tarth, they hold on. They hold on barely, but they do it, and they send us to a hard point. Walk me through this Game 3 on this control and checkmate. What did you see from House Tarth outside of that, I can't speak, those defensive mistakes? What did you see from them that kept them in the game?
Well, the kill feed is an interesting time lapse in and of itself, right? I mean, we're seeing Afro start to ramp it up in this game, and that's when you saw a more well-rounded effort from the side of House Tarth, and they were incredibly just hyper competitive with Rams. We also saw explosive multi-kills coming out of players like Journey and Lucky on the point. Lucky with 30 plus objective kills. I mean, that man was just nasty. A devastating presence on the map for sure, keeping the team competitive and keeping this match exciting. In the end, though, it was House Tarth. They were able to have all 4 players online at the same time and close it out.
Well, now we move to checkmate Hardpoint for Game 4, and this is a series that feels like it could go the distance. But again, I'm going to ask you, with how impressive both teams were with putting numbers, really it was heavily favored towards House Tarth. They were able to put Afro in the back, and the amount of times that he was sitting on spawn just racking up kill after kill after kill. Do you think that's going to be a factor going into this hardpoint on the same exact map, knowing that people spawn back NASA, back wood, you can lock them down if you know what you're doing at the top of plane? Let's take a look at the map layout of this series, but Fox, do you think that Afro's going to have that same success towards the back of the map?
I think he absolutely will, especially when you have someone on your team like Weeman that knows how to plant his feet and find solid positioning for your team. You can find a play and help it unfold in that regard when you have that kind of consistency on your side. Checkmate Hardpoint is going to be an interesting one. And as much as I'm talking up House Tarth and their capabilities here, I do still think that we will see Rams as a more competitive, a stronger team in regards to how the submachine gun players play. I think that we're going to see Journey take over. I think that we're going to see Metals have highlight reel worthy plays coming up in this hardpoint, if it's at all similar to the first one.
Yeah, and again, just to give you guys a quick reminder that this match, it has some big implications, right? If Singularity continue to win their series and they eventually win it, House Tarth loses this, Singularity take House Tarth's spot. So House Tarth need to come out, send this to a Game 5 if they want to hold on to their ability to not get regulated into not seeing themselves next season. At this moment, though, they sit, I believe, in 6th place, and this is a big matchup because it's been so back and forth. Yes, the kills have been there for both sides, but it's also a little bit of an ego matchup, right? You're playing knowing that Singularity have a chance to overtake you. You want to show that you're here for a reason, and with the players like Afro and Weeman and Gizmo, like this is another roster, a lot like Maki Maki and Mr. Minmaps, where you could look at the roster on paper and say that should absolutely work, and the fact that it's still struggling just a little, it tells me that, again, they just need a little bit more time time in the lab. But we go into game 4, we go into checkmate, and for this hard point, your standouts need to be your subs again. You need Afro to have a monster game. You need Weeman to have a monster game. And on the other side, you need Metals and Lucky to do the same thing they've been doing in this series. It's going to be a close one. It's not going to be a blowout like we saw near the end of game 1. But Fox, what are your predictions for this? Do you think it's going to be a blowout, or who are you taking in this matchup?
Story up to this point is that House Tarth has a lot on the line. You mentioned it yourself. This is relegation. This is an elimination moment. Rams, though, they're coming in as, honestly, overall stronger team. They're looking like they're more well-rounded, more consistent in their roster, and I think that they've certainly shown for years now that they have very capable players in the game mode of Hardpoint. So if you're House Tarth, I'm looking up at the Titans of the Rams, and these Spanish players might be able to dominate here.
Well, we'll see if that's actually the case, but as it stands, again, up 2-1 in the series is Rams. They took the first 2 games. House Tarth just took the control like you saw. And I guess luckily for Rams, there's only 1 control in the series, but for House Tarth, that was a big one to win. If there was ever a time for a swing game to come through and reset the momentum, it certainly was the control. We go to checkmate for 3 straight maps. We'll see it again. And Miami is a toss-up, really. Miami is the largest map known to man outside Verdansk, and it really could just come down to whoever gets lucky for 2 rounds. Maybe they rally that into the rest of an entire Miami win. I feel like it's too... Even if we go to S&D, it's too close to call. Both these teams are so evenly matched at the moment, even after that game 1 win, especially in those last couple of hills by Rams. If we go to Miami, Fox, I feel like it would be foolish to pick one side, because that map could really come down to 1 or 2 key plays.
You're absolutely right. I think I'm going to avoid making that call until I see more of what's happening in this checkmate hardpoint, right? See where the momentum is, see where the energy's at. We got 2 awesome rosters going at it. Rams is at match point. House Tarth is looking to stay in the league, looking to continue competing in the Challenger Series here, and it should be an exciting matchup. So, Space, I got to ask you, if you had to tell someone, if you're a new viewer, you're not familiar with maybe some of the history between these players in this server right now, all 8 of them, who is the first player that you would recommend to people at home to go and look up?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably Weeman, because of his storied legacy, his career that he's had up until this point, how long he's been in the scene. But if we're talking about recent, how explosive of a talent should we watch, or who should we keep our eye on? Honestly, I would have to say Metals, just because of Metals' history right at the Pro League with Toronto Ultra, and what he was able to do with Team Heretics with Lucky. He was able to propel that team to some big wins during the Pro League in Black Ops 4. So Metals is certainly someone to keep an eye on, and when he takes over, it can be so difficult to stop this Rams team.
That it is, and we're looking through the eyes of the Rams players as they're able to find, the House Tarth players as they're going to mount their 22nd lead over top of Rams so far. Not a single point on the board. Metals is looking to disrupt that a bit as he finds 2 kills in a row. Still alive with the submachine gun around the plane. He's punched his ticket and found another. Lucky alongside him in the kill feed finds a kill as Rams put some numbers on the board. They still need to clear out House Tarth. 2 on point. Metals tagging up the player from a distance. He's not really going to find too much of the action on the hill. As we're rotating to P2, it looks as though Rams are already set up. They have all their bases covered, and it's now on House Tarth to engage.
And the first hill will always be really, really choppy. You're just looking for scrap time, trying to contest if you can. This is where you can get a bit of your money hill wrapped up. And for Journey, that's going to come in the form of close engagements. 1 towards the top of the plane worked out, but for everything else, starting off at 3 and 3, stay alive, avoid the utility, and find kills when you can. 35 to 25, they bring themselves back involved in the game. They're getting the kills as well. Weeman and Afro will get 2. Afro will get 3 on a 2 spree, combining with his teammates to break back into the hill. He will get shut down. It's Metals in the kill feed. Weeman working through the back of Orange. He'll take down 1. He gets shot from the side, and the lead continues for House Tarth. They've been able to break and get some good time, but Rams get back in control.
Rams still spawning up just next to the point. They keep pouring it on. They're able to take him out. Afro is sticking around them. He's still alive, finding 1 kill in the previous wave of engagements. He's finally taken down, not without Weeman sticking it to Metals. He's able to find a big Semtex kill. 2 in response from Rams as they still hold down the scrap time. Finding us another tied game. Nearly tied, 47 to 46 as we move to P3. Right back to the middle of the map, but underneath the plane this time.
Defag drops. Weeman still up. It's slowed down massively, Fox. As there goes a kill for Journey, and I was just waiting for like the rotations to come through, and still, not much has happened under the plane. We still have a lead for House Tarth. And people begin to get traded out. Finally, Nvidia will work his way in. Weeman will get up the second kill coming off spawn. Journey going to try to work at least with Lucky, who's sitting inside the hill 9 and 6, and it's been pretty quiet moving into this set of rotations. At this moment, Journey able to find one, gets cut down by Afro in the nade. Still, the lead continues for House Tarth. No one really been able to get a good chunk of time.
Yeah, not a very convincing point. Of course, P3, just this entire plane section of the map, always highly contested, always high intensity. And you see a lot of those arrows moving towards the northern part of the map, all converging on one point. That is the new objective, P4. We have nearly a tie game as Rams are in the driver's seat to knot it all up. Still, competition comes just around the corner. Afro being the closest one to the action. We should see him dive face first in the hard point here soon. It's what he does best in this mode. Not going to find the win, though. Journey's going to be able to take him down. That's big for their line of defense here. As Gizmo's more the same, but Journey's, again, ready for it. Some support over his shoulders as well, as Metals was able to put down shots at range. And the first 30 seconds go to Rams. They propelled themselves to a 10-second lead. Fight's not over yet. D-Crash looking to take point next. He finds a kill, gets away with his life, too. There should be follow-up coming from Rams soon. Around the corner.
He's only 5 and 9, make it 6 and 9. Defrag having a great start to this hard point. 85 and counting. They're going to be able to tie it up with just a couple of more seconds, but Metals on your screen, sitting in the far back of the next hill. He's going to be ready and waiting, and it looks like Lucky might be the first person to challenge, but never mind. He's going to rotate out. There's one. Working through the back for Afro. Stun comes out. Cut down Afro with a big two-piece. We saw this all during the control in the last game. He continues to shut down players in the spawn. He's gone a 3 spree. Afro is just lighting up the kill feed.
You need to stop this player, right? You need to shut down Afro if you're Rams. This submachine gun player's got the hot hand right now. A 3 streak. He's tied with Lucky for the most kills in the game. As we see Metals defending the hard point at this time. They're looking to pull ahead of House Tarth. They're just behind them. Tie game. The next wave of engagement should be going down soon as all white arrows converge onto the Rams defense. Still controlling the point, not contested just yet. Meadow is tagging up the first player that could be able to do it, and the potentially next one comes through, and Weeman is going to be able to take him out.
Afro's all kinds of tagged up. Oh, there's a nade. Watch out for that one. Follow up. Second one as well. And he dies finally. Lucky gets the kill. 118 to 117. Again, this is a lot of what we saw in game one. So reminiscent of the back and forth battle that both these teams have been able to put on. We move back to P1 on our second set of rotations. 2 kills for Afro. How many times have we said that in this series? Finds 2. That's not a great nade. As Metals is going to jump up, take him down, and a little bit of taste your own medicine for you. Weeman picks up the kill. And they still have control. House Tarth uncontested on this P1 hill. And we move through the plane. Nades continue to funnel out, but so many times Rams get 1 or 2 kills, they get shut down. They have to work overtime off spawn, and it looks like they might give up the last 10 or so seconds and just say, screw it. We're going to set up for NASA Hill, and we're just going to wait for P2.
We're looking at the closing moments of P1 on our second rotation of hills. House Tarth is up in the lead by 30 seconds. We're seeing D-Crack pretty far behind everyone else in the lobby in terms of kill engagement. Still at the top of the list when it comes to time in hill for both teams, actually, tied alongside Journey. So as we get into this next hard point, House Tarth looks to maintain this lead and run it to the finish, force that game 5, and prevent themselves from being relegated. Rams, however, with their 2-0 lead in this series, they want to close it out here. They took the first hard point. They're a very well-equipped team to be able to handle the series ending here, but House Tarth is not going out without a fight.
Oh, and Lucky does not want this to go to a Game 5 S&D. The only player in a position might have been Afro to challenge up spawn. Weeman gets obliterated, and Lucky's on 4 in a row. Finally gets shot down. But Rams, again, will have early rotation. They set up for NASA Hill, and they're here ready and waiting. They've been able to find the appropriate kills as well. Everything transgresses as it's supposed to. And here come the follow-ups from Lucky off spawn. Nvidian for 2, Weeman for 1, and Lucky for the third. 150 to 63, counting up and up and up is Rams, 2 players in the hill. And now we look at the rotation. You just have to worry about going under the plane. House Tarth are set up, ready and waiting. They should be able to find the appropriate kills. Any semblance of normalcy has been thrown out the window for this hard point. 174, 150, just a 24-point game. House Tarth could swing that back in their favor if they get a good chunk of time.
We're back to B3, but the constant burden of Afro being in and around the objective is still there. The threat always looming. Gizmo finding 2 kills to support him. Lucky piecing up 2 of his own, hoping to stay alive for the third. He doesn't get much more than damage, and House Hill is awarded to House Tarth. Or P3 Hill is awarded to House Tarth. Gizmo is on a 4 streak, and you got to imagine that that's at the backbone of this play.
Metals tries to slide in for the initial, doesn't get it. Nvidia just going to contest. I love the idea, but the shots are even better, and the recognition from House Tarth just to go and get the kill. They do so. Defrag slowing down now. 15 seconds till the hit rotation. We should start seeing it on the minimap. You will. Number 3, top of the minimap. It's Wee Man who's weak, but coming off spawn for a split, it's Rams. You have Journey and Lucky and Metals trying to work together, but they're getting cut down. Gizmo again, lining up shot after shot. The numbers are split out for Rams. 200-point mark crossed for House Tarth. They're in the driver's seat of sending this to a Game 5.
Initial time for the new hill does go to Rams, but keep in mind just how hot Gizmo is right now, approaching 10 kills in a row. He's had the support and the movement of Afro alongside him to maintain that objective, and that's a core reason as to why we're seeing House Tarth lead by 40 seconds. Afro is in the point, contesting alongside Lucky. Let's see who wins the fight. Lucky looks to be the first player in the lobby approaching 30 kills. He could do it in this fight.
Well, the AR of Nvidia that's struggling, 15 and 21. It's being felt on the map. On the other side, Defrag, 12 and 21. So basically, you know, if you want to make a meme or be funny about it, it's basically a 3v3, but it's been much more one-sided for House Tarth. They have been able just to rack up kill after kill. Gizmo, you can thank for that. Wee Man, you can thank for that. Afro's been a nuisance. On the other side, for Rams, you need Metals and Journey to really start putting on the gas. They're having a great game, but they have to have an even better one if they want to bring this game back. Now you look at the rotation, who's set up first. Afro on your screen, all tagged up. Journey going to push through the front, and he'll get shut down. There goes Journey and Lucky combining for all 4 dead. House Tarth need to come off spawn quickly, get back towards the hill. They have the close spawns as well. Gizmo cuts down 1. Can he cut down the second? Not going to happen. 2 players will spread out, and 1 will hit through mid-plane. Rams have control, and they'll grab the lead.
Rams pulls ahead. They have spawns. They know where the pressure's coming from a middle map. A very staggered, kind of separated push coming from House Tarth, and Afro falling first is certainly an omen. More times to Rams. They have enough to win on this point right now. It's only 15 seconds separate them from victory. House Tarth looks disrupted. Wee Man still contesting the point. He wins the gun engagement against Nvidia, putting him on his back. 26 and 26 is the AR player, but the pressure from the Rams continues. They still spawned up so close to this point. I wonder at what point do they give it up and start rotating to new in the middle of the map here, because it's still anyone's game at this point. We got nearly a tied match.
You got to rotate. Everybody can win it here. Why not? Let's go back to P1. Third set of hills. Let's sit in the middle of the plane. Wee Man's inside, 240. 10 seconds to go. Will they be able to hold on? Nvidian with a massive kill. Finally, he shows up in the kill feed. 17-24. That's not a great nade, but Defrag and Afro will contest. The shots start to ring out. Afro still alive. Wee Man in the back. The numbers start to funnel in, and they get the kills as well. In the back, it's Metals. He's going to find 1 more. Afro still alive. Defrag picks up the kill. Nvidian combining, and everyone starts to fall. 2 more will drop. Journey on the challenge from playing wing. He gets cut down. Gizmo 34 and 27. We're going to Miami for S&D Game 5. And what a hell of a way to end that map.
Yeah, we find ourselves in a Game 5 situation here. An explosive finish to the hardpoint there, as you mentioned it yourself. It stands out above a lot of the players in the lobby that Nvidia was not able to contribute much in the moments where it mattered most in that hardpoint, right? It really went the distance, and you needed to be able to keep up with that pace from start to finish. That was a long game of hardpoint. And what we saw was House Tarth able to close it out in the end, just barely edging out the Rams.
And even in that last final hill, I mean, Nvidian was able to pick up a kill or 2, which opened up one side of the plane, but the numbers continued to funnel through for House Tarth. I mean, it's as simple as that. You guys saw it like we did. It one after another. The trade started to fall, the numbers started to drop, and reinforcements were there for House Tarth. We send this to Miami, but looking at that hard point, right? Like, Afro was eating in the back. You had Gizmo, who started lighting it up. I think he was on, almost on a 10 spree. Wee Man really had a huge game. This team really started to put it together, and they were chaining kills together left and right that allowed them to stay contested, or allowed them to stay stay involved on the hill and contest that point. And let's take a look at some of the replays of that final hardpoint. And again, House Tarth just pulled these kills together, chained them so well. And as much as Metals pulled it together and as much as Journey stepped up on that final 2 hills, House Tarth just looked like they were on a different level.
Yeah, and you're going to see a whole lot of Afro in this kill feed. You're going to see a whole lot of Lucky in this kill feed as well. Just the amount of multi-kills they got. They were always in the right spot at the right time, lighting up the kill column for their teams. Like we said, competitive effort on both sides. That's why we did see it go to the distance. And House Tarth, I mean, just look at it. Just look at what Afro has been able to do to them throughout this game. Even with players kind of lagging behind, he constantly pulled ahead. Another streak at the moment. Again, you just kind of watch it all chronologically. It's really just a great Call of Duty from him.
Yeah, and it was so close back and forth throughout the entire hardpoint, back and forth, tied up constantly. Finally, the lead changes start to become a thing, and then we're talking about, okay, we need to hit rotation, you can't win it here. And when we got towards the end of that game, it was constantly Rams in position to win it. They had control on the hill, but a couple of big 2 pieces and 3 pieces from House Tarth, they were able to close out the kills necessary. They get into the hill, they win it there, they move back to P1 on the 3rd set of hills on rotation, and they close it out. So we go into game 5 now. We look at Miami S&D, and I said if we come here, Fox, it's going to be up in the air. I honestly don't know, but I think momentum is on House Tarth's side. And again, they need to win this to stay in 6th place, something like that. And they're showing that they can do it.
Keep up how much effort they had to put in such a long game of Hardpoint as we come to the final map in the series here. Great effort from both sides. It's been a long battle, but it's not over yet.
It's not. Let's take a look at the maps of the series, how everything has transpired. 250 to 184 was map 1 raid Hardpoint, followed by Checkmate S&D, 6-4 win for Rams. They were up 2-0, and here comes the reverse sweep. Checkmate apparently is the map everyone wants to play today. 3-2 win in Control, 250 to 237 win in that last hardpoint. Up 2-0 is Rams. Now they're tied 2-2 in the series. We go into Miami, and what a way to do it for House Tarth that they're able to come out and squeak by Miami and take the series. To go down 2-0, be close to being relegated out of the Challengers Elite Series, and just say, screw it. We're going to turn up one time for the one time, and we're going to win 3-2. That would be a hell of a way to do it. But we move into Miami. We move into Game 5 S&D. And Fox, again, I'm going to come to you with the same question I've asked you all day. What are you picking? Who are you taking? And what are you seeing on this map that's going to propel House Tarth to a victory?
I've been calling Rams from the start. I feel like I'd be a hypocrite if I changed the prediction now that things are starting to tip towards House Tarth. They're fighting for their lives in this relegation instance of potential relegation for them.
Sure.
So I'm going to stick with the Rams. I think that we see them buckle down and get it done in Miami.
Well, you got 6 rounds to win. With how chaotic and back and forth this has been, I have to agree. I disagree. I'm picking House Tarth. I think that at this moment, they have the momentum on their side. They have been able to shut down. It was scrappy and dangerous and weird and not entirely perfect, but the control was good enough. Then they go into Hardpoint. They look like they are playing on a different level, like they didn't even play the first 2 games. Now we move into S&D, and I think that they're just going to do it. But this is the map layout. This is how the entire series has gone. And again, we don't know the final series count of Singularity. When we get that, we will share it with you. But this is a big one. This is essentially for their tournament life. And also, here's the update. Singularity won 3-0. So if House Tarth win this, they'll stay in position. They'll stay right where they were. If they lose this, they will be knocked out of the Challengers Elite Series. They will be relegated out, and Singularity will take their spot. So there is a lot going into this Miami S&D. There is so much they need to overcome, and that just makes the storyline even bigger, Fox.
House Tarth, this is a must-win. Your stiffest competition has done it in a 3-0 fashion. Can you do it in 3-2? As we load into the Miami Search and Destroy, they're up 2 maps in a row at this point. Rams have still given us a great fight in both of those games. They're also looking to finish it out here and kind of maintain their position as one of the stronger teams in their region. I think House Tarth has a lot to think about coming into Game 5.
Now, kind of the layout for how all the teams have looked throughout Europe, and we'll get to North America in about 2-3 hours ish, right? But looking at how Europe has looked, there's obviously standout names on every single roster. Has there been a name that maybe we saw it last year, maybe we didn't, but has there been a name so far you've seen and you've said, yeah, that's basically, what I expected, that is what we saw last year, or that is what I knew they could do?
For me, really, it's going to be the guys that are on the Rams. These are
Sure.
names that we're familiar with. Some dominant forces in Spain, right? Especially in the form of Journey, Metals, and company. We've seen what they've been able to do for Team Heretics. You got to expect it from them. On the side of House Tarth, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Afro. More of the same. This high intensity, high tempo submachine gun player, always in your face, and he is there to make the plays when you need them.
Yeah, and I look at Afro and I just say he had a ridiculously good season last year during the Challengers Cups when we had those broadcasted, and he has continued to find ways to improve. I know players were talking about him as probably being like, one of the number one recruits out of Europe. And when we got to watch him last year, you look at things like Hackney Yard, you look at things like Azure Cave, maps that require subs to be dominant, he was lighting up the kill feed consistently. And so the fact that he has continued to progress as a talent, and now he's currently a sub for the London Royal Ravens professional team. He's moved up to the CDL. He's accomplished that dream. I know at some point he would like to obviously be a starter, but he's worked his way up and he continues to get better and better. And he's showing you in hardpoints and in controls that we just saw why he's so dominant, why he can be such a havoc for other teams, no pun intended. And now we wait, we sit in this game 5, and we look at Miami as we load in, and we take a peek behind the curtain at one of the more interesting S&D maps, because it's not only just so wide open, right? It's the nooks and crannies that you can work in, but if you're caught out of position rotating through mid-map, the game stops there. That's the round. If you're an offense and you have to make a late game decision in a round, say, hey, we got to push this bomb all the way to B, and you get caught, there's nowhere to go pick it up. There's so many different lines of sight you can get gunned down from. So I'm looking at the ARs on House Tarth and Rams to have a big game.
We got any musicians at home? It's all about piano control on this map. Heavily favored is that B bomb site. A little bit of dumpster diving inevitable from the AR players that hold the position just outside of it. We'll see that unfold as, interestingly enough, efforts are starting towards the A site for the offensive team, the Rams, with Journey as the bomb carrier leading the charge.
Really slowing this one down. No one's moved just yet. Don't really expect them to either. So we might get perfect timing as well. If he plays this correctly, he could be spoiler on Journey on the bomb. Yep, he's going to do it. He's going to go for the peak as well. Gets caught out by Metal, so the trades come through. 3 alive on both sides. Rams and House Tarth again, fighting for positions in the first round of this S&D. Just joining us, game 5 time. Lucky takes down Afro. It was a 2-0 series lead for Rams, and then House Tarth roar back. Now we sit in a decisive Miami S&D. Metals takes down Defrag. Ismail caught out. He's going to get shut down. And very similar to the first S&D in this series. 1-0 lead for Rams.
You got to respect the patience from Metals. After seeing his bomb planter die, he follows up, finds the trade kill, and instead of hopping onto the site, he waits out the utility from the enemy team, the tacticals and lethals raining down from above, and he ends up finding another kill, killing half the team on his own on an offensive round. That's what you need when you're starting these search and destroys.
It's exactly what you need. And again, just take it one round at a time. And with how chaotic Miami can be and with how unpredictable a lot of the routes can be, you just got to slow it down and take it one single round at a piece. But 2 kills for Metals, 2 for Lucky. Here's your overview of the map. As that bomb's going to try to work its way around the bend. And unfortunately, Lucky is also ready and waiting. So if he spots anyone from that right side of visitors, he's going to rotate back into the site. Hang around the building, and Nvidia now moving to A, playing around the outskirts. All the way on the outside's Defrag at the bottom of your minimap, working through to B, looking for that first pick, but no one to fall just yet.
Yeah, so far, no one's home on this flank, but something could certainly unfold as you might cross this line of sight for the player on B. Looks like they've elected to send the bomb carrier over. Afro is in town. They got someone down the hall to deal with here shortly, though, and trophy system set up. They discovered it just now as it deflects the utility out of the sky. He's hoping to catch the toes of the player behind the van, but they're not giving him much to go with. He bags him up once again, the trophy system keeping him at bay. And you kind of see just how well Rams are able to hold the line, but Defrag, the patience pays off as Apro's able to find a headshot. Everything is unfolding as we speak, as Defrag ends up getting caught out in the open with a Semtex, and the defense from Rams just holding strong in that moment. 13 seconds left on the clock. It's Wee Man in a 1v2 for House Tarth.
It was Metals behind the dumpster that made all that possible. You can't really challenge towards top piano if you can't take Metals out of position. Finds 2 kills. I mean, look at this. Just so easy, right? Gizmo, nowhere to run. One will go. Defrag tries to come in for the challenge. The nade comes through. That positioning from Metals set up the entire hold. And the defense is there, 2-0. Very, 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 very similar to what we saw in Game 1. Metals 4-0. 2 streak for Invidian. Lucky, around the same. On the other side, a kill apiece except for Defrag, yet to get involved, but we'll probably see Journey run bomb. There you go. And maybe they elect to move to A this time. It looks like that might be the call.
If you're a Rams fan, you like what you see. Up 2-0, Metals at 4-0 as well. If you're House Tarth, the Titan must be taken down. Metals must be stopped. Looks like his efforts are being sent towards the A site, all outdoors fighting along the shoreline. Bomb carrier can be found there as well. A flank is unfolding on the southern part of the map. It's Gizmo behind enemy lines. He might be caught by Lucky here shortly. He ends up getting shot in the side, though, as Gizmo gets the better of him. Wee Man gets a kill as well. Half of Rams has fallen. The bomb carrier now Metals alongside Invidian. They have the entire roster of House Tarth to deal with and 0 map control.
And Gizmo has already worked his way back to the spawn of Rams, so they've basically locked down 3/4 of the map. You really have nowhere to go except right to A. Wee Man, all the way outside of back visitors. He could pick up Metals if he's lucky. And he's just going to wait. No reason to give away your position. Spots the cross, Krieg in hand. Defrag with the nade, leaving up to the name. Bomb down. And this one should be all House Tarth. It will be. They'll pick up their first round.
And so we see the first blood that House Tarth was able to find on the flank, and eventually unfolding into a round win, the first one on the board. If you're just tuning in, this is Game 5. Rams took the first 2 rounds quite handily. Metals went unkillable, 4-0. But again, that flank is what really set things into motion for this first round, for this third round victory, to put the first point on the board for House Tarth. They are fighting for their lives in this league competition.
Another A hit. Again, I like the diversity we're seeing so far. First round for House Tarth, so the momentum again starts to stable on out. Invidian on an island by himself, watching the cross through mid. Defrag top apartments, what does he spot? I don't really think he sees much. Invidian must know that Defrag's up there, shots ring out, and now he's going to get the call, but look at everyone else at the bottom of the mini-map. Basically, they just said, we're going to run through their spawn. I think it's Journey and Metals. They're going to rotate through the back. If Invidian stays alive for this long, it might be a perfect play. And it's up to Defrag to get the information and call it out.
Defrag finds one behind him, but Metals gets the better of him. This flank could prove to be deadly as 2 kills go in favor of Rams. The site control is collapsing. The bomb's been dropped at point A as well. Wee Man is on the boat, and Metals is trying to sniff him out.
At this point, what do you do? If you're House Tarth, it's 4v2. Wee Man's got nowhere to go. Metals is going to rotate behind. This is a free kill. Literally free low. Going to take him down. And Gizmo last up. Takes down one. But his position is known. Nowhere he can run. Rams 3-1 up. And I love the risky, gutsy call. Just to rotate through. They say, hey, House Tarth did the exact same thing to us in the previous round. We're going to send 2 members this time. We're going to pinch you into apartments, nowhere you can run. And if we are successful, we have beach control. What are you going to do? Plant the bomb? Nah, that's not going to happen. They do it successfully. 3-1 lead. Journey has yet to pick up a kill.
Yes, the gameplay on a macro level certainly impressive from the side of Rams. Metal is 6-1, kind of accounting for Journey falling behind the crew here. Bomb carrier as well, something to keep in mind. He's typically first in the action, and also first to be baited in an attempt to play the objective. So we'll have to see what piano control looks like, as they will be met by two different players for the side of House Tarth. It looks like they were setting up for a flank again, and they get caught off. They get caught off guard. Metals and Nvidian find 2 kills. That's sight control for the side of Rams. They should be able to get the bomb down, about halfway done with the plant. The rotation is coming from the remaining players of House Tarth, but they have 4 players to get through, and Metals is on a 3 streak.
You asked me who I want to watch. Here comes the cross. Metals. Got to get both. He'll do so. You asked me who I want to watch in the last game, Fox. If we had to pick someone and you're a new viewer, Metals is 9-1 in this Game 5 S&D. He has picked up 9 kills. Journey, well, he'll get it, actually, so make that 8-1. Still, that's pretty damn good. Journey gets his first kill, finally, but 8-1. Metals has single-handedly brought this team 2 rounds away from taking the series 3-2. And sending House Tarth out of the Challengers Elite Series.
In that replay, you saw Metals with the pencil calling card. If you're at home, make sure you take notes. This is how you stay a playmaker throughout the entirety of an S&D. Metals is at the head of a lot of the success we're seeing the Rams exhibit here in this Search and Destroy. Afro, your bomb carrier, lagging behind the rest of the team in terms of pushing up to this B site, as it looks like they may be waiting to see if anyone from the Rams will push through. Piano control, in terms of numbers, is in favor of House Tarth. Journey has no idea what awaits him around the corner, as most players flock towards the A site for Rams.
I mean, Fox, just look at the spread for Rams. They still get first blood, but look where everyone is. Like, you could build a city with the amount of space they have available. Defrag will even it out. Afro trying to get the bomb down on B. He'll do so successfully. And now the call comes through. Once that first blood came out for House Tarth, and no one moved to beach, that's when you have to start collapsing in on the site. You got not a lot of time, but 40 seconds is still doable. Lucky rotating in through mid-map. He has to pick up Gizmo. If Lucky gets Gizmo, this is entirely winnable. There goes the nade. You're waiting on Lucky to make the rotate through the back. Top piano control still for House Tarth. Here comes Lucky up the top. Is he going to peek the right side? He will not. Still alive. He gets called out. Gizmo knows he's around the corner. Gets the beat down as well. Numbers there for House Tarth. Everyone starts to drop. Nvidian last alive. He won't be able to do it. Will he? No, he will not. House Tarth, 4-2. Coming back in this one.
That was just stellar post-plant positioning from House Tarth. They played their lives just as they needed to in that balcony at top piano. Gizmo was the one they were looking for, and he gave them nothing. As soon as Lucky revealed himself, he was able to find a kill, and they close out the round, putting their second one on the board. At this point in our last matchup on Search and Destroy with these two teams, that is game 2 of this series, we were tied up 3-3. Rams have had a lead at just about every point of this game, as they started off strong 2-0. And House Tarth there trailing behind, but certainly making progress.
And that one really went back and forth. This one has not been quite the same, but still flares of that same brilliance. Journey, very hesitant to move out towards the beachfront. A couple of nades that come out, stuns that connect on nothing, but Gizmo, just a little bit of a warning shot saying don't come anywhere near the site. On the other side, it's Wee Man, again, towards back visitors. And Metals, who might meet the end of that bullet, but at this moment, so patient to move up. Right on the other side, it is Defrag, I believe. Nope. Oh, it's Afro. He's going to get the kill. There it is. Bomb down, in a very bad spot as well.
Probably the worst spot for the bottom to fall, but we do see Lucky find a kill before instantly being trade. Defrag putting one in the back of his head. With this bomb down on site, we're going to have to see the Rams commit to it, as everyone else from House Tarth converges on this point. Outnumbered is Metals in a 1v3.
Gizmo working through the back. He's going to try to cut down Metals. His position is known. He's going to get shut down. And welcome back to game 2. 4-3 now. We're looking at closing in on a tie game. And this is how this series has gone. It's been back and forth in the Hardpoint, extremely back and forth in the S&D, almost the exact same situation in the control. Last game was a bit of a fluke, but these two teams, man, talk about just moving chess pieces at the appropriate time. Quite literally dead even.
That they are, and you have players like Defrag that know the positioning they need to find, and he's great at holding, and he sees himself on a 4 streak at the moment. Rams, we find them once again letting their lead slip away from them as House Tarth pull themselves further into this game. They have an offensive round attempt. Bomb is on its way to the A site. They're leaving just one player behind for the flank. That's Wee Man, so keep an eye on him on your mini-map. as it looks like several Rams players are making moves inching through middle map. How does this change the play that's unfolding towards the shoreline? All 4 players from Rams kind of backing up and scattering amongst the 2 sites, but House Tarth, they're staying committed to playing around the boats here.
If you're all huddled up, all it takes is one bad nade and everyone goes down. But at this moment, a couple of shots ring out. Afro will advance to the site. He's going to get the bomb down as well. 1 in 5 for Journey. Afro will get the plant off. Pretty clean. Here comes Metals for the challenge. Immediately deleted. They have to come in, just take him off site. You need to be able to put numbers there. I know they're worried about the cross. Gizmo shut down. Invidian, 2 massive kills. Defrag on the outside of the boat. Will he get spotted? He will. Invidian, 11 in the clip, has to reload. But you have numbers here starting to advance. There goes Journey. And Wee Man, nowhere to be found. You didn't really expect him to be anywhere near the play. It just collapsed too quickly. He's got a line of sight, but he has to win the challenge. Will not do so. 5-3. Defuse will come in. House Tarth need to win the next 3 rounds. But for Rams, you're on match series point. Both of them combined. It's just one more round, and you'll take it.
I think we need to recognize how beautiful that retake was from the side of Rams. Of course, it opened up with a mistake in the issue of House Tarth being able to get the bomb down without dropping a single player. Even in post-plant positioning, Afro was able to stay alive, sitting on top of the bomb site. But even in the end, when they had the bomb planted towards middle map, we saw that the Rams were able to sniff out the remaining player of Wee Man, shut him down, and hit the defuse. They are now at map point as well as match point. House Tarth, once again, fighting for their lives. This is relegation on the line, as Singularity was able to win their series 3-0. House Tarth needs 3 rounds straight.
They can do it. It's going to come up to Gizmo. He won't get first blood. It will fall for Metals. Rams have the advantage, and they have the site locked down. There's the nade, but the bomb will still go down. Defrag can't... He'll stay alive. I'll hold my tongue for the moment. Metals tagged up. Trophies are down for both teams, so no utility. There comes the closing from Afro. He's going to take down 1, but Defrag will fall. 2v3. House Tarth need a perfect retake, and it's going to come from Afro. Oh. It's still possible. Afro and Wee Man versus Lucky and Journey.
Afro constantly evening things up on his own. He's got the support of Wee Man. They're looking for Lucky. Lucky's lucky, though, hanging out in the back. He's shoulder peeking, giving him just bits of his body at a time, hoping to waste his time and run out the clock. It's just a 1v1 between Afro and Journey, but there's not enough time for him to do it. As the Rams close it out in round 9, they get the win and close out the series with a 3-2 victory.
And just the wherewithal to immediately fall back on the play, force him to chase you, and just say, we're just going to play time. Just don't die. Just don't die. Afro picks up 2 kills. It looks dangerous, but it's not scary enough to make Rams any more concerned than they need to be. They win it in Game 5 S&D. They win it on Miami, and that one was a little bit too close for comfort for Rams for a while, but welcome back, Ali, and a 6-3 win that looked like it might be going around 11, but again, Rams hold on, and they show that their resilience, a lot of the back of Invidian's 2-piece on the beachfront that propelled them to that map win. The resilience comes in clutch when it needs to. A dangerous and scary series for a while. But, Ali, what did you see on the sidelines just watching that entire series? I know we saw a couple of, you were messaging us saying, House Tarth needs to do this. They're not doing this correctly on rotations on Hardpoint. What were you noticing during the series?
My big thing with House Tarth was I didn't have much faith in them when it came into the S&D, so I thought they had to shut it out and respawn early, which they were unable to do. But they definitely showed some promise later on. I mean, they got 7 out of 10 rotations in the hardwood that they won, and it was a consistent thing where every single time they got that early rotation, that's where we saw really House Tarth find their most success and end up taking that final hardpoint. And the control, absolute dominance out of House Tarth to come out like that out of 2-0, so definitely some promise there, but Rams were just able to shut them out. 6-4 S&D, 6-3 S&D, pretty predictable across the board.
And Fox, looking at that Game 5, right? Here's a look at the map layout for the series again, and kind of going back to that Game 5, let's go down this memory lane real quick once again. Invidian with a big 2-piece on the beachfront, but we just look at, again, the control that Rams had throughout the entire game. Even when it was 4-1, 4-2, 4-3, and slowly House Tarth bring it back, the resolve and the resilience from Rams as a squad, it started to come out more and more, especially when it came to retakes on defense. Talk to me a little bit about their defense and how well they played.
that Rams defense, I mean, we saw when they needed clutch plays, it was just all haymakers, right? Just massive stops from them. The 4v4 retake was nice to see after kind of letting it slip a little bit. We saw Afro was able to get the plant, but yeah, just an awesome effort from them.
And here's a look at the schedule for today, because we have concluded all of our European matches, and that means essentially coming up next is North America. It was Orglas defeating Obtained Esports 3-1 to start the day, Rams beating House Tarth 3-2, and then coming up next, we got Wester and Subliners Academy and Mr. Midmaps and Higher. So we have moved up the Western match, and we will leave the last match of Mr. Midmaps and Higher towards the end of the day. But at this moment, Europe has wrapped up, and that means that House Tarth lost and Singularity won their Series 3-0. So Singularity now move up to House Tarth's position in 6th place. House Tarth are relegated out to 7th, and we won't see them for a while. So this was a massive series they needed to win. They come within 3 rounds of doing it, but this is going to be a depressing question. I'm going to start with Fox. For these players, right? You're sitting in the middle of the pack, you come in, you need to win the series, and everything out of your control goes against you. Now it's up to you. They don't close it out. It's got to be difficult to know that you had a chance to stay in the middle of the pack and go to the playoff bracket, and now we won't be seeing you in that playoff bracket, or really for a little bit, right?
Right. I mean, it's a crushing feeling, right? Hours and hours these guys are logging in every day to grind a COD, and when you have those kind of deflating moments, it can be tough to bounce back, but you have to have that mental fortitude to push on and press on and find the next thing.
And Ali, again, Singularity get a massive win. They claw from the depths. They were sitting at 7th place, and we're thinking, okay, they're going to get relegated out. What in the world's the deal with Singularity? They get a massive win over arguably number one or two best team in Europe. They 3-0 them, and now they're into the middle of the pack conversation. Was this the turning point for Singularity, like we talked about yesterday, saying they just needed a couple more days of practice? Was this the match that you think is going to turn them around?
Absolutely. I'm so sad that I missed out on watching it, because I can only imagine what went down in that series. But I'm super excited for Singularity. I'm excited to see more of them, but also I feel so bad for House Tarth, because I mean, going into the series, they didn't know. I mean, they're probably finding out just now. I know they lost, they're now into relegation, and they won't be playing anymore. I mean, that's just such a double conundrum of just, wow, what a terrible way to end the series.
Yeah, it's one of those 1-2 nail in the coffins that just, it sucks as a team, but it doesn't mean that their future has to be defined by this unfortunate series of events. This team's talented altogether, so we'd like to see them come back and compete again. But that's going to do it for us for the moment. European region is done, and when we come back at 5 p.m. Pacific time, it's North American up next, and you guys don't want to miss it. Wester and New York Subliners Academy, one of the biggest matches of all time, is coming down on this stream. We'll see you guys at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and when we do, we hope you're ready for some quality Call of Duty. This is the CDL Call of Duty Challengers 2021 season, Elite Series underway, and we'll see you guys in a couple hours.